to the very first Thief Theorycrafting night. This is Tempest from Team Python. This is for the recording, for you guys wondering. And I'm here with plenty of Team Paradigm members as well as some people from the community. Thank you all for joining, first of all.
Okay, man. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And so I want to start off with some general questions for you guys first, and then we'll go into the questions that you have for me or for everyone else. And my very first question was, what were your expectations for the Thief prior to actually playing it, from videos and like those sort of things?
Any specific order you want us to go in?
You start first, since you're the first responding.
Easy enough, I can do that. This is Brood talking for the recording. With Thief, I guess, like, assassin-type classes have never been my draw in MMOs because of the perma-stealth out of combat. I always thought that was super weak and just a cheap way to play a game. So with this one, I just wanted burst damage, high mobility, and I guess a little more survivability than what we got. But, I mean, it's what you can expect with the way the class is built. But that's my first impression.
Yeah, and anyone agree or disagree with that?
I was really leaning for the mobility as well. This is Harkin speaking.
Okay, so mobility, burst damage, anything else someone finds attractive to the Thief?
That's pretty much it. That's what everyone goes for. In the old MMOs, there's always been the reason going for this class is because of permanent stealth. It was the only way people could play the class, because that was the main class mechanic. Whereas now in Guild Wars 2, it's an option. It's not like you have to stealth. You can do other stuff instead. And that's where I like it, because it's not balanced around stealthing, but it's rather balanced around his all general skills that he can do.
Leave with more options.
Yes. Okay, so the reason why I liked the Thief compared to like assassin types from other MMOs is because you're very much in control of your character. You have to be very pinpoint precise in what you do, especially in PvP, since one mistake usually leads you to death. That's what I've noticed, so I agree with you guys quite a bit on that. Anyone else have some input, or shall I go to the next question?
I just think the initiative system is very unique, how compared to the other classes they have to do something completely different than the Thief has to do, so I kind of like that option where we get to choose what abilities we use rather than a timer.
That's actually one of my next questions, like what do you think of the initiative mechanic? Like, does it work well with the Thief gameplay, or does it feel a bit restrictive?
I think it was kind of a mistake from ArenaNet's point of view to make that, because it's going to be very hard for them to balance fairly. You know, like you can increase the regeneration, but then that makes us overpowered, like almost immediately.
I like initiative. It makes it unique in my own.
Oh, it's definitely unique. It's going to be very difficult to balance our class.
Agreed, because, I mean, you can just spam abilities, which is the draw to the burstiness of it. Like, I think that's what their, like, general idea was with incorporating initiative to the Thief, is you want to get in, unload, and then get out, because if you take a punch, you're going down.
Yeah, once you burn your initiative, you're done.
Yes, exactly. I agree with the limiting factor, because on weapon skills you can't really have powerful skills, since like put 1 second disable on there and you suddenly create a deadlock, and there are many examples of that. So I agree that the mechanic is somewhat limiting, but on the other hand it's also what attracts me to Thief, because you can unload skills faster than any other profession, and you can chain skills repeatedly, which is also a great advantage in some cases. So anyone else still have an opinion on that?
It fits the Thief very well. I mean, the issues with other MMOs was it was always a cooldown on certain skills, which really reduced how fast you'd expect a Thief to be able to do. And with the Thieves Guild 2, I think they've nailed how it's supposed to be played. But like other people have said here, that if you increase regeneration, it's going to be overpowered. But maybe increase the maximum initiative would help at all.
Well, yeah, I mean, that also is another thing I was going to bring up. It's almost like we're required to put at least 15 points into trickery to get that extra initiative.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true. Anyone else before I move on?
Well, it's another one of those things, just like you said, Tempest, in the beginning. You have to, with the initiative system, you have to make your decisions like properly the first time, and if you don't, you'll catch yourself in a really bad situation that'll probably end up getting you killed. And I mean, if you go in there with no initiative, you're done. Or if you burn a certain ability or accidentally queue up something you're not supposed to, that completely wrecks your game plan going into the fight.
Yeah, but the Thief has a lot of mobility, has a lot of escape options. That's how it's designed. You can see every single... See, 2 heal skills is an escape, because there's a Vanish, which stealths you, and then there's the Evade roll back one.
Oh, for sure, yeah, I completely agree. I was defending initiative, because I like initiative.
Yeah, I like it as well as I dislike it sometimes. So it's a mechanic that I personally had to learn to like. Since before going into it, I was sort of skeptical of whether or not they could do a proper balance around that sort of mechanic. And I think they pulled off a pretty decent balance, though it's like was already said, it's somewhat limiting as well as making it a unique. So the next question I had is, after playing the Thief and the beta weekends, did your opinions change, or did you suddenly like it less or more even?
Am I the only one that thinks that it makes it seem like Thief's damage got nerfed a little bit?
No, I think it did in certain weapon sets, because like I prefer the weakest, well in my opinion the weakest weapon set, and that's the sword dagger, and I actually feel like it got buffed for those sets of beta weekend.
It did,
like it felt good, but daggers totally got wrecked. Like there was a huge nerf on them, it felt like.
Yeah, it sounded like they were trying to...
I think the nerf on the daggers was to do with leaping Death Blossom, mainly. Probably backstab as well, because those were the 2 things. Where you get condition damage builds which would just spam leaping Death Blossom.
Well, yeah,
the one-hit builds which would just abuse backstab.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the fact that they increased the initiative cost didn't help matters.
Oh yeah, Leaping Death Blossom's pretty rough. It's almost pointless to use now if you have any like form of strategy.
Well, Leaping Death Blossom was a very powerful skill to begin with. It was an evade as well as AoE damage and bleed, so pretty much did everything you wanted from skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, coming back a little to the initiative costs going up, how do you think they will start balancing the profession further later on? Do you think that just changing initiative costs will do it, or do they need to look at something else?
That kind of is where I was going, where it's hard to balance based on initiative. You know, aside from the regen, you add 1 initiative cost to Leaping Death Blossom, and it's almost no point to use it. You remove 1, and everyone's using it.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing there. I think that they'll be ending up doing just like nerfing certain percentages of the damage coming out, and yeah, that's pretty much all they can really do. In my opinion, anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. Unless they take away or add another total initiative to the bar. That's the one way you can change everything evenly, I guess.
They could go that way. Now, another way I think they could go is, instead of looking at actually changing the skills that cost initiative, look at the other skills, your utility skills, and even your steal and stolen items, and add some utility there that basically works together with your weapon skills to make your thief more viable, while not necessarily adding cost to the initiative, which in the end leads to, well, resulting in one skill being used, probably.
I'd like to see some kind of a steroid implemented where we get a temporary increase in initiative, like as a utility skill or a healing skill.
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting, or like even with a little bit of a tweak to the weapon sets, like maybe if you have like X weapon in the main hand, all of those abilities cost some form of initiative, and like the offhand abilities maybe generate a small amount of initiative every time you use them. Like, there's all sorts of things that you can do, but like you guys said, it's going to be really, really difficult to balance.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, like the auto attack maybe increases one initiative. Well, maybe not one whole one, but you know, you use it to increase it.
Some interesting ideas.
Or like you said with the auto attack, like if you hit the opponent, if you get on, like say you crit them, every time you crit, it gives you a 50% chance on your next swing to generate one initiative or half an initiative. Just some form like that to sort of give you the balancing scales into less initiative diminishing, I guess. Mm-hmm. That was terrible English, but you followed.
I think that's a good idea.
That's good ideas. Any more? I guess not. Well, there are already some traits, and the issue I have with traits increasing initiative regeneration, I guess, is that they became sort of essential. I've noticed, because you didn't see anyone, like was already mentioned, the 15-point trait in Trickery called Preparedness. Nobody's running without it, because everyone needs to have +3 maximum initiative.
I did try a couple builds that didn't have it, and it was a little bit to get used to, but once you figured out how to work with that 3 less initiative, it wasn't so bad. It's just not as convenient if you were to have them. But I liked other traits better than what were in the Trickery line, so I tried to, if I could manage without it. It was a little more difficult, but it was still fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, when it comes to competition and things like that, they're always going to put 15 points into the 5th trait line, and then they're going to have traits that will benefit them when it comes to gaining initiative. There you go, my English fucks up there. But yeah, I mean, if they could remove those traits and somehow implant it, like the others said here, into the weapon set somehow, I think it'd be more beneficial. Because you get 1 initiative every single 1.69 seconds, I think it is. And that's okay, but that slows down the thief quite a lot. And, yeah, that's what I've got.
Yeah, I really like that idea as well. It sort of puts all of these on equal grounds at the start rather than after you put in your traits, so it also leaves room for new traits, which would also be very interesting to see, since personally I found the amount of traits that I wanted to be somewhat lacking, or there weren't really that many that I would, or there wasn't really a diversity in the traits that I would pick in different builds.
Yeah, for sure. I know that there are rumors of traits going in a huge overhaul right now because of that. Like, there's only maybe 1 or 2 in each, like, Master, Grandmaster line that are appealing, and even some of the Grandmaster traits aren't appealing or they don't work. That's a huge issue right now. I found a lot in Beta Weekend 2 and in the stress test that still didn't work at all.
That's the same for other professions though. There's certain skills that are not working and certain traits are not working. They're trying it all out. What was it? I forgot what it was. Never mind, I'll come back to it.
Did they change anything from the stress test at the second Beta Weekend? I didn't get a chance to play it.
Not that I noticed.
No.
No.
Yeah. At least not balance-wise, probably more content or fixes.
the game ran pretty well in the stress test, at least for me, in comparison to the beta weekend. I think they did a pretty good job with it, considering what they do with the stress test.
Yeah, so I think we're getting more into the topic of balance. So let's get that one out of the way first. So how do you think the thief compares to other professions in PvP? Like, say you stacked rank them, would you say they're at the top 3 or lowest 3, or where would you place them?
We're buddies with engineers.
I was just about to say that.
I don't know, when I played as an engineer, I just got crushed by thieves all day long, so...
One of my guildmates plays an engineer, and he was doing pretty well, but he's also a really damn good player, so...
Well, engineers are nasty if you play them well. They just have a really odd mechanic of the way their tool belt system works, and once you get that down, you're golden. And that's the same way with the thief. Once you get the initiative system down, you're going to be better than a thief that doesn't know how to use it yet. But in comparison, like considering a ranger, I keep wanting to call them hunter, but the ranger has a similar playstyle to the thief with certain weapon sets. I feel the ranger is far above and beyond here to play and harder hitting and more like it's just better all around than the thief. And I don't know if that's due to its mechanics or just it having better traits or better abilities on their weapons. I don't know. I think the thief's in the bottom 3 for sure.
Warriors are the same way.
Oh, yeah. Warriors are nasty. Like, they're way OP. I don't care what anybody says.
I should have given one shot at my warrior.
Warriors are overpowered, but they're obvious. All the animations, most of them are just like, oh, you're just going to do that. Dodge.
Yeah.
Well, thieves are a bit more secretive. Like, you can't really see the animations that well. Well, except for like Leap and Death Blossom and that's bloody obvious, but you know what I mean. There's just a lot of skills that the thief has that are not that obvious, so you can't dodge out of them. Whereas the warrior's very obvious.
Yeah, I think that what you're referring to the warrior is probably the frenzy 100 blades combo that everyone seems to use all of a sudden, and
no, there's more builds.
If they carry a great sword, it's generally assumed that's their build.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
For sure. Yeah, now, I mean, Eviscerate's what I hate. Eviscerate's just nasty.
Yeah, I agree.
Attack.
Yeah. Now,
mid-range build is nasty.
Also
like
that.
7k crit all day long.
I think one of the worst parts about Eviscerate is if you dodge it, they can just use it again in 10 seconds. They don't lose their adrenaline.
Exactly. Yeah, I hate that. That's. I think they should lose the adrenaline because they're tired after trying to do the ability or something to fit into their mechanic.
It's actually interesting since when you miss a skill with a thief, you lose your initiative. So.
Exactly. They should get like an exhausted buff because they used all of their adrenaline, or an exhausted debuff. I mean, like we get a revealed whenever we stealth.
That's another good topic, the reveal mechanic. But let me, before we go in there, let's first finish up.
It would make sense actually thinking about that.
So, Thief bottom 3 is basically what we can conclude. Now, what do they lack? Why are they bottom 3? Is there something that we can identify that's really the cause?
Well, I think that thieves are supposed to be squishy to a point, but I think that they are too squishy.
Yeah, I don't think it's a risk-reward type of deal. Like, a glass cannon's supposed to be able to hit massive amounts like an elementalist does. And I mean, I think they're balanced very well for how much damage they do to how squishy they are, but I don't think thieves get that in return.
Yeah, but thieves were too much in the middle of the fight. We can't just run away.
Yeah.
Thieves have a lot of mobility though. I mean, whenever I was in danger, I could just escape easily.
Yep, that's not very difficult with a thief. The problem is, as a thief, you have to kind of rely on your ability to escape before, you know?
Exactly. Like, I don't want to base me going into a fight like, okay, I have to find the quickest way to run away, because I know I'm not going to kill them the first time around, but I might be able to get them the second or third time if I escape properly without using too many cooldowns. I don't enjoy having to think that way. I think there should be another more offensive approach to it. Although, like I said in the beginning, I love the mobility. The mobility is great. They nailed that. I just feel that there's something missing.
I say we should take Endure Pain passive from Warriors and, use that instead. That would be great.
Overpowered. So, I sort of catched that, again, initiative is one of the causes, but combine that with survivability. Now, what could they do to both put initiative in order as well as upping some survivability? Things that I think they could do is put some more dodges on weapon set skills, since the only...
They added Needing Death Blossom.
Exactly.
They added an evade to that, didn't they? So I think that suits more the class as well, because they're all about dodging out of the way, stabbing you in the back, blah blah, and running off.
Exactly, and I love that. That's why my favorite set is the Sword Dagger, because of Flanking Strike. It's a beautiful ability, but auto-facing almost kills it. And that's, I don't know, I don't like auto-facing at all.
Yeah.
How about something like increased passive... sorry, the stat for dodging, I can't think of it right now.
Endurance.
Yeah, increased passive endurance regeneration for Thieves. How would that do? Like over other classes, just as a passive innate that all Thieves get.
That would be interesting. Now, the 15-point trait in acrobatics already does that quite a bit. Whenever you dodge, you get back, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's 20% of your endurance.
It's a bit more than that.
I think it's 25%.
Is it 25?
It did get nerfed between the beta weekends.
Wasn't it 50% before then reduced?
You can dodge 3 times in a row with it, but there's, like, you see it regenerate, like, slightly, so I think it's a little under 25%, since you need 50 to dodge.
Yeah.
But anyway, like, basically what I think that Thieves currently are a bit too much burst and like, the typical glass cannon style, but I want them to become more of a, like, acrobatic profession, like dodging, jumping in and out, really confusing your opponents, making them waste skills because you're constantly dodging and jumping from one place to another with shadow steps. And I think that if they put more of those skills on weapon sets, or just skills in general, then the Thief would already become a much more fun profession.
I agree.
Something like the Sword and Focus Mesmer, that's an absolute another pain with the stealth skill and the invulnerability and moving around.
That would be good. I mean, it could even be as simple as a fix if we're looking for more dodges, as just giving us a way to buff vigor on ourselves. I know we can with one of the traits to buff our heal, which is used really well with roll for the initiative, but I mean, that's dedicating 30 points to it, or not 30 points to a tree. You know which one I'm talking about, either way. But like vigor in general would be something that I think the Thief would really benefit from and make our class more complete, like some weapon set buffing it, or a utility skill giving it to us, or vigor is a simple solution to that, I think.
I have a question about that trait, the one where you gain vigor on healing. Is that just when you actively use a healing spell, or when you get healed?
Whenever you actively use
When you use your 6-slot skill.
Okay. They need to clear that up on the wording then. That would be ridiculous if you get it whenever you get healed.
You can safely assume that whenever it says when you heal, it's usually your 6 ability. That's throughout all professions.
It doesn't say that though, it says upon healing.
Yeah,
they don't... I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, they should probably... I think that, descriptions are due to a pass, and there's some traits that also don't do what they say completely.
Yeah, for sure. There's some very general written traits. There we go. I can't speak tonight. I apologize.
Okay, so another thing about initiative that bothers me is it sort of takes away from what makes it unique, but I sort of hate that you can chain the same skill over and over again. I would much rather see some way for us to be pushed towards comboing different skills together rather than just saying, I need damage, this skill does the most damage, I hit it over and over and over again.
That'd be interesting.
That would be awesome. That could almost be like the new mechanic. It would just be really hard to program.
At the original Guild Wars Assassin with the chain skills that they have on there.
Yes, exactly. Well, that was sort of a very forced chain where you had lead attack, offhand attack, and dual attack, which was pretty much your chain was determined by the skills you bought. But what I would like to see is something like, say my headshots gave me 2 seconds of fury, which is plus 10% crit chance, then I would probably always use it right before I pistol whips, and that would increase my damage. If you understand what I mean.
Right.
So not forcing combos, but giving more, pushing it towards
naturally combine together.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. So.
Like haste and pistol whip.
Yeah,
yes.
Like synergy amongst our abilities and our weapon sets. That is something that we do lack. I think so. Yeah, definitely lack synergy.
Mm-hmm. The place where I do see that a lot is with the stealth skill, and mainly if you use an offhand dagger, where you use cloak and dagger followed by your stealth skill. That's almost a natural way of comboing all your skills.
Definitely, yeah. I like that build you came up with. That was actually really fun to play that way. Because I don't like pistol at all, but that was a good plan.
Mm-hmm. Why don't you like pistol? Which pistol? Main hand and offhand?
I don't like playing a sort of medium range type of a thief. I like to kind of get in the mix because I like to, I don't know, move in and out. I guess I like the teleportation thing, like shadow stepping. That's me enjoying the sword. I love the sword.
Yeah,
That's
I like
amazing.
sword and dagger. I like sword and pistol together, really.
It's fun too. I just feel the dual skill, the pistol whip is. It's literally hit or miss. You can take it every way of that expression.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so I think we discussed initiative quite a bit already, so I'm going to move on to the other class mechanic, which is steal. What do you think of steal?
If you go 30 trickery, it's great.
30 trickery?
Yeah. You can, at 30, you can add a daze to it, so it's quite useful for interrupting heals.
Oh yeah, it's true. I never tried that though, actually.
It's pretty nice because it reduces the cooldown a ton.
Yeah, it's like 34 seconds or something.
Yeah, you can. It seems like it's always up because if you're not paying attention, you're just like, oh wow, okay, I've got steal now. This is cool. I can interrupt them, scare them, give myself protection, regen, light fury. It's pretty much a huge buffer if you use that strategy.
But you need 30 in trickery for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I don't like that. Just to make it just to make it usable in a way, you have to go 13. The 5th trait line is just a bit.
Right.
I usually go 20, and I think it's fine. Once you get all the buffs from it, it's okay. I usually use it to initiate anyway, rather than wait for a skill to interrupt. So.
Yeah, I think Dean. Yeah, I think Dean was. You weren't liking it because you have to trade it to actually make it worth something, and I completely agree with that because you do not have to trade the F1 for Necromancers to make it good. You don't have to trade the F1 for Warriors to make it good. I don't know why the Thief, or why the ArenaNet found it necessary to make the Thief have to trade to make their mechanic good. It makes no sense.
Exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, the traits are there just to improve upon something, not make it work, as it were. You know what I mean? It's just...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for the Elementals, for example, like, if I don't put 30 points in Arcane, it doesn't really matter. I can still swap attunements. Yeah, they're
Exactly.
15 seconds, but, you know, it doesn't really matter. I've got 3 other attunements to switch to.
Do you think
Whereas Thieves, it's just 45 seconds, you know, waiting for this skill that has a random factor into it that will have a possibility of 3 items. It's just a bit...
I think the randomness, that's what bothers me most.
Yeah, exactly. There's no guaranteed, like, if you steal from a warrior, there's no guaranteed knockdown for it. There's another variable here and variable there. And I know that seems cool for ArenaNet, but to me, this seems like a hindrance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you never know what situation you're going to get yourself into right after you steal. It's not spelled out for you. I mean, it gives you a, hey man, I can play on the fly, and if I am successful, people are going to know that. But it's I don't know, it's bittersweet for sure.
So nice way of putting it.
Did you guys hear about the reduction in different kinds of things that are getting stolen depending on what class you're using it against?
Yeah, they said something about, like, you're going to have
2 or 3.
Yeah, 2 per profession, and it'll always be the same, like, it'll always be the same 2 per profession, and I don't think any profession will share any. Are they still, did you hear anything if the thief is still going to have every single one shared if you steal from a thief, or is it going to be reduced down to 2 as well?
I'm not sure.
I have no idea.
Haven't seen anything official on it.
And this is in PvP only, just to make it clear, because in PvE you'll still get whatever you can get from a mob. That makes sense, I guess. Which is actually quite odd, since they did it in PvE already, since when you steal from a Moa bird you always get feathers, and that worked because it was a counter to that mob. And it took them, well, they're now changing it in PvP, but it's sort of strange that it took them a while to conclude that.
Yeah, it is a bit weird. I mean, PvE doesn't really matter, because it's like, oh, I've got this, blah. But in PvP it's a bit different. You know, you need something that works, not something that might work or might not work. You don't want that in PvP.
Agreed.
The main problem is that they haven't actually been focusing on balancing PvP that much. They've been getting all the core aspects of the gameplay right in the past 2 beta weekends. Hopefully, said that they'll get the focus on balancing now for the 3rd beta weekend, so you should get it nicer ahead.
Well, they're balancing it out now. If you've heard the audio files from Reddit, did anyone hear them?
I didn't hear them, but I read about them.
That was alpha stuff. That's ages ago.
No, apparently that was only last week, according to some sources.
I did hear a rumor that there were some new information on that.
Yeah, one of the more interesting ones that I've heard is they're buffing Signet of Shadows for a 25% passive speed
I can
increase.
find it with posted on Reddit like 1 week ago.
There's a thread on it on Guild Wars 2 Guru.
Yeah, I read that today. That's where I heard it from.
That's Signet though. Holy crap! What a buff! It's a 25% passive speed increase while it's in passive mode, and then it's also now an AOE blind on active use. 30-second cooldown.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that almost makes it a necessary, like even more.
Yeah,
necessary.
that's my thought exactly. Yep.
I love that. That's my favorite utility. That and traps. Traps are really fun, but
Yeah.
They've got the improvement traps as well. Apparently, you know, what's that one called where you teleport to the target trap?
Shadow trap.
Yeah, that's it. They've improved the range on that to 5,000.
oh, nice.
Yeah,
That's
so
my
like
favorite
half,
trap too.
yeah.
I think
Across the
that's
map, bang.
I think that's just enough to cope between 2 capture points, roughly. It's not map wide, definitely not.
Definitely not that wide, but it's enough to know it's a nice like defensive, you know, trap, because if someone tries to take your control point, you can teleport there, and you're in stealth as well, so you're not, you know, fucked straight away if there's 3 of them. You can just escape. So I like it. It's a nice trap.
I just pasted from that thread what people are saying has been changed.
Awesome. And another thing with that trap too, like if you're on trebuchet duty, like you just park it at the bottom of the hill, and if you're using daggers, as soon as they cross the line, you get an instant chance for a backstab.
Oh, yeah.
To just wreck them.
Oh, that's brilliant.
That's what I do the whole time. Like, it's beautiful.
I actually used that trap first before I changed it to tripwire. And the reason why I changed it out was because I kept finding myself getting teleported to somewhere where I absolutely didn't want to get teleported to, or just the timing was wrong.
Yeah, that's a bad thing about it. But you've got to play, with that kind of trap, you've got to play a more defensive role. Like, your main objective is to, defend this, control point while you're going on trebuchet, or while you defend this control point, you're going to take out the bosses. Something like that,
Right.
Add a little extra, strategy into it.
And, like, if you're being chased, too, I mean, it's an extra get-out-of-jail-free card. You drop it behind you, the person's chasing you. Like, say they're, I don't know, I'd probably 600 yards away from you in the game. And you know that you're going to die if they catch you. So they think you cut around the corner, like in, it's not Forest of Niflhel. That place, if you're running in between the bases and you cut a corner, and they don't see you, and they cross that thing, you can just roll backwards after they cross it, and they're still going to keep chasing you around to the mine or the henge, and you're free. It's beautiful for that.
I mean, you can always you can always just lay it down anyway.
Yeah.
Lay it down behind you, go and stay for 5 seconds, just walk off.
Exactly. It's very strategic for getting away.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the cooler utilities. Another thing that's really what surprised me on traps is their duration.
Their duration's insane. That's why I have so much fun with them, because like they're down the whole time I'm in an area.
Shadow Trap lasts forever, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it's 1 hour that was on the...
Yeah, it was.
But you can't keep up multiple at the same time, so...
Yeah.
Right.
That would be insane.
Then, like the other traps, like Tripwire has had its range increased, added a 5-second cripple according to this list, and Needle Trap's range increased by 500 times 100. It's 3 seconds immobilized, but the poison's been increased by... No, it hasn't. No, it's been reduced. Oh well. But the cooldown's been reduced to 30 seconds, which is nice.
Yeah, that is good.
I remember in the first beta weekend, which one was it? I think Needle Trap was like 90 seconds cooldown.
Wow. That'd be miserable.
Yeah. Which is probably why they buffed it now, since nobody would use that, obviously.
I mean, no matter what, that's the problem. I think that's where they're going to get, that's going to be a fall for them in a way. Because they're going to try and make every single utility, every single skill viable. And no matter how much you do that, there's always going to be a certain utility that is just overall better than the rest. There's always going to be that one, or that particular build that's going to be better.
Yeah, but not all skills are designed to be for search PvP. They can balance, for example, versus Sword.
True. Yeah, they all share.
Not every
PvP.
skill has to be balanced. Structure PvP, only certain.
True. And there's also the thing, not every skill will fulfill like a similar role. You will have, for example, stun breakers, and there might be one that's the best one that everyone will use, but currently there's already 2 where I don't really know which one I would pick. Like Shadow Step is my favorite, but I also sometimes roll for initiative as well, so it just depends if they can create some options for every purpose of a utility skill, and I think it's fine. They don't all have to be balanced.
They're really discussing about separating PvE to PvP for like the might, weak, vulnerability, and what was it? Might, vulnerability. There's another one.
It would be confusion because in PvE it was really, really weak, and in PvP it was slightly too strong, I think. Because you use abilities a lot in PvP, but you barely ever use them in PvE, so they're gonna...
I honestly never noticed the damage with confusion. Whenever I'm against the Mesmer, when he's applied a lot of confusion on me, I don't really notice it. It's not that damaging, I feel.
No.
I mean, I know I'm spamming attacks, but, you know, it's just not doing the damage that it should be doing.
Yeah, for it to be their specific class debuff, or whatever it's called, it doesn't do enough damage.
Plus, it's reliant on the opponent. That's probably one of the biggest flaws of that skill is it relies on the opponent to do something just to get some damage.
But you can also use it, so if you stack it up on them, then you essentially disable them and mean that they won't use any of their abilities, which makes them completely useless.
That's, I think, their purpose, but it might be a bit too weak to actually push people into avoiding to use skills, or that might be too strong, actually. So, we're derailing a little bit. I think we started off with steel, how it wasn't, well, that you needed to invest too much into it. Well, there's also a second part on steel, which are the stolen items, which I think do balance it out quite a bit. Since I oftentimes find the stolen item that I get determine whether or not I will stay in a fight or not, and even win it.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. Because if you get that 5-second daze or the 6-second invulnerability, I mean, that's huge.
Where did you get the 6-second invulnerability from?
I think I stole that from a thief, I believe.
It's the
Seriously?
bottle of rum, I think it's called.
Bloody hell.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's it's great.
I didn't even remember it was 6 seconds. Wow.
Yeah, that's a game changer. Like, if you get something like that, that's huge. I mean, a 5-second daze in itself is gigantic. And I mean, I think you get a 3-second stun. You have all sorts of stuff that really...
The knockdown.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too.
There is a large variety, but sometimes I also, like for example, the feathers, where you get another stealth. Half of the time I'm not really happy with that.
Yeah, because the reveal really kills that one. Because
Yeah.
like, for me, I play with Hidden Thief, and if I steal and I get that, I'm screwed. Like, there's no point. Like, I just got a worthless stolen item.
Yeah, but they're fixing the stolen items. But there were patch notes in like on Reddit.
Yes.
Yeah, but you can always keep that item till later. It's not like it's there
Yeah.
for 5 seconds and it disappears. It stays. So,
Sure.
and then you can find a use for it later on.
True. Thing I didn't really like about it is that I can't keep track of the recharge on steel while I have it held, which sometimes annoys me. quite a
Yeah,
bit.
other professions have that issue. I mean, Elementals, for example, that has a huge issue. See, you've got 4 elements, and like you don't know what's off cooldown or not, and it's very confusing. It'd be nice if they could somehow implant a UI where it tells you like certain skills off cooldowns. Like, I don't know, like something to tell you that it's on cooldown currently.
So, we talked about some of the stolen items where we were like, yes. Now, do you think that the reason for that is because they are too strong, or do you think?
Well, I think a 6-second invulnerability is certainly too strong.
Yeah, there are a few that I find like pretty much determine the game for me or the fight. So I would like to see stolen items get brought down a little bit, but having the initial effect of steel being increased to sort of balance it out, where you can steal and get the stolen item that you don't like, but you're not necessarily like
Hindered by it.
yes, that's a good way to put it.
What about that steel trait on trickery? 10 points. It increases our stolen weapon damage by 25%.
I'm really curious about that because I don't know anybody who's used it, and I know I haven't tried it out myself, but it sounds like it could be good.
Especially
It does.
when we have a 50%, chance of knowing what we're going to get. I think that would be more useful.
But the problem is, like, have you really ever stolen anything that is just pure damage?
Just the axe thing.
Yeah, the axe that spins too.
That's from the warrior, isn't it?
I think so.
Well, that's it. So that's like, I mean, the other CC. I mean, when you get the others, it's like CC and things like that, which is okay, but they don't deal that much damage. So having that trait is just like,
It's true.
not that much.
Now, if it increased duration by your buffs, like the thing you steal from Mesmers that buffs you with every single boon, if it increased that duration by 25% as well as increasing damaging by 25% and condition duration by 25%, that would be golden.
How about we just say,
effectiveness.
Yeah, so just have it so it increases the effectiveness of everything that you do by 25%, or just in case it's overpowered, reduce it to 20%.
Yeah, no, that would make that an extremely appealing trait.
Yeah. So
It depends, because like you've got the other trait which grants fury, might, and swiftness to you and your allies. It's just like, would you rather have that, or would you rather something that would guarantee you, good boons for your setups?
Right.
So
I guess
mean,
it kind of depends.
I think isn't that what ArenaNet's trying to do with the trait system though? They want you to have to make that choice. And that's what I would love if they could actually keep it that way once the game launches. And that would be one of those times.
I have that a lot with a warrior, where I'm literally sitting there like half an hour deciding, will I take this one or will I take this one? And I really like that. That's just a sign that they built the system well. And with Thief, it's a little bit less. So, and another thing, if I had that trait, I would probably put it in my tier 2 slot, if it worked like that.
Oh, agreed.
I think the problem they're having with balancing the Thief is that rather than based on cooldowns and damage and utility, it's very much about opportunity cost rather than anything else. And that's something really hard to balance.
Okay. So, okay, we had steel, we had stolen items. How about, well, we already talked a little bit about utilities, but let's get a little bit deeper into them. Like mainly, venoms is probably the most used one. Like, what do you think about venoms?
I think they're in a pretty good place right now, personally.
Don't like scale venom. Really don't like that one. Main reason is because of the 15-point trait Lotus Poison, which weakens targets whenever you poison them. So it's just like, oh okay, I'll just get Spider Venom, then Ice Ray, then Devour Venom. There you go. It just makes Scale Venom useless in a way, because the only thing it adds next to it is Vulnerability, which at the moment everyone can agree is pretty much a bottom condition for us, for anyone really.
Unless you can stack it really high, it's really not that great, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, scale would only be good if you weren't planning like putting traits at all into the power line or deadly arts.
So, some issues I've seen with non-thief players mostly is that there are too many reapplications on those venoms in terms of the Devour venom. You can apply Immobilize multiple times in a row, which sort of makes condition removal seem rather pointless, I guess that's a good word.
Yeah, but it's got 45-second cooldowns. It's not like, oh my god, he's going to keep on immobilizing me. God. No. It's just going to immobilize you twice. Condition removal, carry on. That's
well,
what
the
it
problem is with the burst of a thief, they can kill you in the time that the immobilize is on you, or they can get you very low in that time.
Yeah, but like 2 attacks, most professions can deal 2 attacks in under like 1 or 2 seconds. It doesn't really matter that much since it only lasts for 2 attacks. It's not like the whole duration it immobilizes you and then immobilizes you. So
Well,
it doesn't really matter.
If you time it really well, like if you get lucky basically, and you just, as soon as you walk out of the gate, you put it on, you have 45 seconds for it to come back and until it wears off. So if you get lucky and meet somebody around the 35-second mark, you're going to have almost 4 immobilizes in a row. And I mean, they're just going to get toast. So I can see where people would worry about that.
Yeah, it's very powerful, definitely in group situations if you've got Venom Aura and things like that, but like, apart from that, if the person has got good condition removal, you know, knows what he's doing, he's not going to fall from the Venoms. Definitely not the setup for them. That's like saying, like, the Elementalist, like, Septum Dagger. You know, that's obvious as well, you know what I mean? But I know that setup, and you know the Thief setup for the Venoms, things like that. You just got to watch out for them, that's all. And I feel I didn't explain that good enough for some reason.
Well, I understood what you mean.
Yeah, I was following you.
Yeah, I followed.
I tend to drift off for some reason, so, you know, ignore me if I drift off.
That makes this conversation interesting. So, a little bit of mixed feelings about Venoms, actually, which is sort of what I also read on the forum, where you see, like, some people say, well, it's very recognizable, and you should know how to counter it if you know it's there, but others say, well, there's not enough condition removal to really keep up, or... I think the main comment was about that double stacking where you wait till the 35-second mark and then reapply them.
Yeah, that's when they really shine. But I mean, it's kind of a lucky thing, because you're not always going to find somebody at that 35-second mark.
No, you can roughly time it. I use the Venom reduction trait, so it's 36-second recharge. So.
Oh, nice. See, I'm not a big Venom guy. I actually don't enjoy that playstyle, so I'm sort of just speculating from what it reads.
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting, since I have troubles not putting Devourer Venom in my builds. So, we had Venoms, we already went over traps. Is there anything more you would like to say about traps before we continue?
I've never tried Ambush Trap. That's one trap I haven't tried. What does the thief do when he spawns?
You get one, like if you've used Thieves Guild, you get one of those at random and it lasts for 20 seconds.
How much health does he have? How much damage output can he do?
That I don't really know. I don't like that trap very much.
They're not that survivable. It's well, depends how you put it. The ranged one uses Unload, has the AoE blind, and uses a what's it called, Scorpion Wire. So as a disable, it has blind, so it's pretty survivable. But the melee one usually only uses auto attack, which applies weakness, and Leaping Death Blossom. So it's not really.
It's RNG if you get what you want. Like, the pistol one's always the better one.
And the damage is... I think they scale with your stats as well. At least that's what I've noticed, since the Unload one didn't really do a lot of damage for me since I run conditions.
So they scale according to your overall power, crit chance, blah blah blah.
Yeah, I think they share your stats pretty much.
Alright. That's a bit of a shame.
So a little too random in order to make advantage of it, I guess.
Yeah, like they're good if you're watching a point and you combine that trap with Thieves Guild, but I mean, that means you're only good, you're a one-trick pony every 180 seconds. I mean, that's not what I want. I don't want to rely on my ultimate plus a trap to enhance the ultimate. That's...
Yeah, that sounds fair. So, I think we went over all of them.
We've still got deceptions and tricks.
Yeah, I meant
and signets,
traps.
Of course.
I meant traps. One last thing about traps that I really enjoy is the way, like Tripwire, how you can, like, how do I put this? Like, if you're against a melee guy and you're fighting him, and he sees you clearly, and you just put it down right in front of him, like the mental or the play you can get out of that just by him seeing that you put it down, and then they're not able to cross that line. Like, I really enjoy that from the traps.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good way to shut down a bull's charge too.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately for me, they just run through it and then they just get tripped over. So.
or that. Okay, so Phantom Straps next. Deceptions, I guess. Would be a good
Yeah.
one.
I really do like the Deception. They're probably my favourite.
Yeah, Shadow Step's great.
That's also my favorite.
Heard they're buffing the range on Scorpion Wire. Was that one of the things?
They're making it faster.
Oh, faster. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
it can actually hit your target and then they pull to you.
Personally, I think they should allow us to pull people off of keep walls with that skill.
They do.
That's never worked for me.
Really? I've heard a lot of reports that it does.
May have had a place where it clipped.
Yeah.
It's probably a terrain issue then.
You usually get obstructed if you try that. Or you should.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Go.
I was gonna say I like Shadow Step, but I never use it, even though it's great for conditional removal, just because I always use a sword. So I've got the Shadow Step all ready. But I do love Smokescreen. Smokescreen is ingenious.
That's a trick.
Is it? I thought it was Deception.
Yeah, nah, it's a trick.
It's Deception.
I think it's Deception as well.
Yeah.
No, Deceptions are Haste, Roll for Initiative, Scorpion Wire, and Shadow Step.
Haste is a trick, I believe.
No,
Unless I'm wrong.
Tricks
It's
are
Deception.
Haste, Roll for Initiative, Caltrops, and Scorpion. Deception is Smoke Screen, Gliding Powder, Shadow Refuge, and Shadow Step.
Yeah, that's
Really?
what I thought. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Have I just done the complete opposite then? Have I just done? Oh my god.
How about we just talk about just abilities in general?
Well, I was trying to put some structure into it so that we don't go from one to the
Fair
other
enough.
the whole time. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so Deceptions, Smokescreen. I actually don't use that one, and I'm not really sure why not, since it seems like it's quite good. But
It is good. It
Yeah.
constantly reapplies and blind, and then it blocks projectiles. It's essentially a very good defense as well as a combo field.
Yeah, I was going to say, it puts the combo field down
Combo
too.
field.
Like if you're using daggers, you can the number 2 skill right through it and go stealth if you're not revealed. It's awesome.
And the number 4 will blind whatever it hits too.
Exactly.
yeah.
Usually a strategy I'll do, like with that, not that one. Smokescreen is always in a pistol build, because I can go up against like a ranger who isn't paying attention or a rifle warrior, and I'll just stand on the opposite side of it and just blind him constantly while he can't touch me. Like, how much better can you get?
Sounds like fun.
It makes them look really stupid, which is one of my favorite things to do in an MMO.
Oh yeah. What was the other one? No, I'm looking it up because I got confused.
You got Blinding Powder and Shadow
Oh yeah,
Refuge.
I found them.
And then Caltrops. Who uses those? Seriously, Caltrops.
I use the
Got
passive
it.
for it sometimes.
I use the passive, but like, what's the point of having what's the point of having the utility when you've got the passive? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it seems silly.
That's actually a very interesting skill, since I tested that one out because I couldn't get over the fact that dodging basically gave you an instant cast version. That just didn't make sense to me, and I've noticed that the dodge version is a much smaller AoE, shorter duration, as well as only applies half the bleeds. So I guess that's the way they balance it. But
It doesn't cripple? The dodge I thought crippled too.
I mean, the
it still
do have
cripples,
good-
but half the duration and only
Yeah.
half the stacks of bleeds.
Oh, okay.
So
I'd
it's
imagine
basically
it'd
half
be-
effectiveness.
Yeah, I imagine it'd be quite good for points in SPVP.
Okay,
Okay.
guys, good night.
It's actually really like I ran Tripwire
User disconnected
in my
from your
third
channel.
slot normally, but after testing this out, I might like keep it. And the reason for that is I run a conditions build, and Caltrops in its own is able to keep up 10 stacks of bleeds.
Seriously? It's only got 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It lasts for 14 seconds, though. The
Yeah,
actual
it-
AoE
it's
itself
really-
lasts for 14 seconds.
It's a pretty large AoE, and if they stand in it, it keeps applying like 2 bleeds every second. That stacks up to maintaining 10 bleeds, like, which is a lot. As well as it keeps reapplying cripple, and I think the most powerful thing about conditions is if they get too much reapplication, where they can't really keep removing them because you can't keep up.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, that's what I love about them. Like, quite a lot of professionals do have that actually. The Elementus has Frozen Ground and Staff. That keeps them reapplying chill. It lasts for like half the duration of the cooldown. It's so good. If Caltrops work like that, then yeah, I think that's really good then.
Well, Caltrop, yeah, they last 14 seconds,
Yeah,
so you
it's
technically
like
only
that.
have a 16-second cooldown on the utility.
Does it last that long on the passive trait for it too?
I always
No.
thought the Caltrops in the utility always lasted as long as the dodge.
No,
So I
the
never really
dodge.
tried it.
I'm not... Wish I wrote it down. Can't remember. But it wasn't the same duration. But yeah, like what I found it really good at is just you stand in the middle of a point, and I use this one main hand, so I'm just kiting over the Caltrops the whole time, shooting them, attacking bleeds. They get crippled constantly, and they keep getting bleeds from the Caltrops as well. So you just basically create a field where not a single
Interesting.
melee can kill you, and like it's just impossible for them to catch you.
I find it a bit unfortunate that the trick that the deception skills are not tricks. Because if you look in trickery, you know, it's got trickster, which tricks recharges are reduced by 20%, and you know, trickery has condition damage within it. So I feel it would have been really good if it was actually deceptions in the trickery instead. Then it would mix well with it. I don't know where the deceptions are. Where are they exactly? Are they in Deadly
Shadow
Arts?
Arts.
Shadow Arts. That's a bit weird.
Well,
But then
deceptions
again, they do
have
have.
like Blinding Powder and Shadow Refuge. So stealth.
Yeah. Supposed to be the support type, isn't it? Deception.
Yeah.
The support type utilities. So.
Here's another interesting thing. Like, how do you compare Blinding Powder and Shadow Refuge, since both of them have the same recharge?
Well, Blinding Powder blinds everybody. Shadow Refuge is pretty much, if you see that little house above the ground, just start AoEing all over it. Blinding Powder, they have no idea where you went. Like, I personally don't like Shadow Refuge. But it's almost a getaway for your friends. They see the house, they run to it, they're going to go stealth. But with Blinding Powder, you have to be in the said area to go stealth whenever it's used.
Yeah, I mean, Shadow Refuge is supposed to be the main support utility where it heals, your teammates, cloaks them, they could get away, blah blah blah. But it's essentially useless. I mean, even the combo filters is useless.
I wouldn't say it's useless. We're one of the only two classes that can actually make them, and the projectile is lifesteal. So like using on lows with that might be pretty significant.
Yeah, but life still stacks according to your healing, doesn't it? It scales with your healing.
I have not tested that. So
I haven't either. That's a good question.
that's a very good question.
I think according to I think every single life steal depends on your healing power. So if you've got very low healing power, it doesn't heal that much. Whereas if you've got someone with a lot of healing power, it will steal a lot.
That's interesting. I'm going to have to try that out next weekend,
Yeah.
next beta weekend.
I mean, it's not useless, but compared to the other fields, it just feels very lacking. Like, the Blast and Leap finishes for it is blind, and he puts one blind. If it constantly put blind, that would be good, but and he has one blind. That's an auto attack. There you go, sorted.
You can trade that whenever you gain stealth, you also blind, so that's sort of...
But I don't know if that stacks, though, because I know the cowardly trait where you get regeneration whenever you go stealth, that doesn't work either. So it doesn't add duration to anything. It actually doesn't give you regeneration at all. It's another one of the broken ones.
No,
so I
it's
don't know
broken.
I don't know if the blind one's broken or not.
It's probably intended to stack duration.
Yeah.
I think guys should stack in intensity. What do you think about that? Blind stacking intensity.
So
if it's ×3 of blind on the opponent, he'll miss 3 times.
That has far too many balance issues, because if you use a dark combo field and then you blast out, say, if you get an engineer and put down 5 mines, then suddenly everyone misses 5 attacks, and then you can you can continually blast into a dark field, and everyone will just be completely useless if they're using their auto attacks.
Yeah, but you can always reduce the duration of it to 2 seconds, or at maximum 3 seconds. So you can just essentially just wait it out, as it were.
But then it becomes far situational for you actually applying the blind, because you have to time it absolutely perfectly, and in the mayhem of a team fight, because in Guild Wars it is mayhem, it's pretty hard to do.
Yeah, but it would make it useful. I mean, at the moment, it's second duration, so it's just like, oh, okay, blind, blah. You know what I mean? It's just, at the moment, it's probably one of the most useless conditions at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, with my suggestion, I mean, I don't know, I mean, it could be quite very powerful, but, it would give more of a reason to use it.
Yeah,
it
would require rebalancing, but if that would mean that it, as a mechanic, would have more of an impact, then I kind of like that idea. But I think what they wanted to do with blind was more of put it on instant cast skills rather than just or just make them less frequent but more easy to you have more control over when it's applied, so that you can use it to essentially make eviscerates miss or something like that.
Exactly, yeah. Blind's all about timing, and I think that's what it's supposed to be. Because you can, like you said, warriors are very obvious in what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And you see one of them getting ready to bulls charge you or whatever, just slap a blind up, dodge out of it because they can't stun you from it, and then you're done.
The only issue of that is not a lot of blinds are actually instant casts.
Yes.
Not all of them are. Some of them are actually take quite a while to cast. Or they have a travel time. You know what I mean? It's just weird. I mean, if their initial purpose was to actually stop an attack, a big attack from happening, another way to defend yourself, and then they should make everything instant. Every single one that applies blind is instant. I mean, I don't know every single skill in the game, so that could probably make something a bit overpowered on the other end, but, you know what I mean? If it's supposed to be particularly for that situation, those kind of situations, then they should, add it to skills that are instant cast. Instead of applying it to something that requires a cast time or travel time.
I'm not sure which abilities are you referring to that aren't instant blinds? Because I'm trying to think through them all.
Dust Devil and Elementalist has a travel time.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean in Thieves.
In Thieves, I don't think any in Thieves. I think a lot of them are instant.
All of them have cast times in Thieves. Black Powder has a cast time to put it down. Infiltrator's Arrow has a cast time for you to travel to the spot, and Shadow Shot has a cast time as well.
How long are they? Are they roughly 1 second?
They're about the same as an auto attack, I think.
Yeah, they're a little less.
They'll be less than that, but...
Well, I know Signet of Shadows is instant whenever you use the active, and that's what I usually use, and it's beautiful for that. That's one time.
Yeah, Shadow Shot, you fire a blinding shot, you first that's got the travel time, the projectile in it. Infiltrator's Arrow, you've got to go to they've got to actually stand in the spot where you're targeted. Don't know about Black Powder. I don't think might not have a cast time.
I don't think black powder
Black
does,
powder
and
pretty
I know smoke screen doesn't either. And then you can time that, just lay it right in front of you, and if they're going to run through it, they're going to go blind.
Yeah.
As well as black powder, you actually shoot blinds, which also applies with the blinds. So, yeah, interesting ideas for blind. Sort of makes me think if they, like, what the difference is between ages, for example, like blocking in general compared to blinds. Like, since they do essentially the same thing.
They do. You know, there's no difference between Aegis and blind. The only difference is, you know, blind is a condition and it can be removed. But then so can boons, but you know they're slightly to be removed.
Yeah, that's it. It's interesting since Aegis blocks your next ability, so if you want to remove the buff when Aegis is on, you likely get blocked. So.
Does anyone know, like, if you blind someone and then they cast an AoE, do they miss the whole time during that AoE?
Another good question. I'm not sure. I don't think that it
I don't
counts
think
on
it does.
AoE. I think it's only on like single abilities, like single targeted.
I think it's one instance of damage even.
That'd be so weird if like the Mesmer casts Chaos Storm and every single time it tries to reapply a condition it misses. That'd be weird.
Yeah, I think you're right, because even whenever you do blind for, like, say 100 blades, or that thing Rangers do where they fire a bunch of shots at once, I think it only counts for the first shot, and then you get hit with the rest if you're not out of the way.
Those definitely.
Yeah, it's the same way that they do things like increasing damage on next attack and crits. If it's like a channel ability, it will only apply to the first strike.
Right, right.
Okay, so where were we? We sort of went over deceptions and tricks at the same time, but a few more tricks we didn't discuss, really. Well, haste, quickness.
Quickness is just flat out overpowered.
Yeah. Well, it's not overpowered, it's just like, with the correct timing, it's very powerful. Like, if you just use it right now, it's not going to be like, blah, 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 all over your face. It requires the timing with it. You got to time it with the correct skill, you know, will it be able to do the good amount of damage to do it? You know, it's very helpful to flag people as well, since, you know, it speeds up all actions by 50%, I think. Is it 50%?
100%.
100%, oh yeah, on the side.
Yeah,
it doubles the speed.
Doubles
it's a pretty incredible utility if used right. Like, you watch YouTube videos of sword pistol thieves, and they rack up like 28,000 damage on one person in one haste with pistol whip. Like, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, but then you have to rely on it, and it's a 60-second cooldown. That's the big problem with that build.
Exactly, makes you a one-trick pony.
I think it's just a nice utility to have. It's great. I do like it.
It's also a stun breaker, so...
Oh yeah, I like it too.
I heard a rumor, I think it was in that same thread about the audio that people are hearing. There was some rumors that they're adding a debuff where it kind of like removes all your endurance when you use haste.
Oh, they're doing
interesting.
Do fashion-specific stuff for quickness, because they were the frenzy, for example, on warriors. You take 50% more damage now. So, taking it back to Guild Wars 1 day.
Not that it matters. If they hit you with a full frenzy, you're dead anyway.
Yeah, but if it goes out the way, then you can just go, way, wake up.
True.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, okay, my issue with quickness, or, well, in general, not just for Thief, is that it makes combos possible that are not normally possible because of animation times, such as if you spam pistol whip correctly in haste, you can keep someone stun locked, or not completely locked, but you keep stunning them for a quarter second, like roughly every little over half a second, or little less than half a second. So they basically can't do a single thing, not even dodge, because right before you dodge you get interrupted again and they take so much damage. Same thing with 100 blades, where you just shield bash, switch to 100 blades, and
but those skills can function, without haste. One of the biggest issues with certain skills like 100 blades is like it's a channel, so they're stuck in the ground, and they're stuck during the whole duration, and they require setup. That's what I don't like about certain skills. There's certain skills that do a huge amount of damage, but require setup.
I would never use pistol whip without haste. I totally agree with you.
Oh yeah, completely.
Well, that's sort of my thing, since pistol whip does a ton of damage on its own. Like, the amount of DPS you can do with those kind of channeling skills is much higher than you should be able, well, not should be able to do, but it's a lot higher than other skills. And it's balanced around you being standing still and channeling the full duration, which requires a setup for your target to remain still. With haste, you suddenly get rid of half of the timing and becomes like just one of the best DPS things possible.
Something else on quickness, but what do people think about it decreasing the time it takes to down someone and decreasing the time it takes to revive someone?
I think it does that, doesn't it?
Yeah. What do you think about it? Like, if a warrior hits frenzy, then they can revive someone really, really fast, faster than you can stomp them.
That's what they can do. Quickness doubles your accuracy.
Yeah, what do you think
about that?
Yeah, what do we think about it? I think it's interesting. I mean, it makes sense to what it is, like, to what the ability reads as. I don't know if it's necessarily fair. I know it's one way to actually kill a thief before they can shadow away.
Well, if you want to waste a 60-second cooldown on it, that's fair enough. You're wasting a 60-second cooldown.
Yeah.
You usually already have it active since you just killed the thief, but... Well, personally, it's again, like what I said, combos that should not happen. I dislike it simply because the down system is based around specific timings in order to be balanced, and quickness just completely breaks that.
Yeah, I agree. That was a good question, by the way, Shadow.
Yeah, very good question. Anyone who disagrees or agrees?
Oh, I agree with you. Although they would have to reword how it's stated. They would have to say specifically in the readout that it does not count or affect down state.
Yeah, it should. For me, it should just state skills, not like actions.
Right.
I think that covers everything. I could be wrong. So, is that everything for
much
tricks?
Yeah, roll initiative, self-explanatory. So we talked about Scorpion Wire. Shadow Steps again. Pardon?
Yeah, and caltrops as well. So,
yeah.
I think the last thing is Signets. Yeah, Signets. That's not really a thief mechanic, but... Well, what do you think about... Let's start off with Assassin Signet. Passively grants power and active increases your next attack by 150% damage.
Those got buffed, the passives. At level 80, they will now give you 90 precision or power.
Good, they needed that.
Wow.
Those are not worth using with only granting you one stack of mites worth of power. Like 35 is not enough to use it as a utility slot. Especially considering what their active is. I don't like either of their actives, really. I mean, like, agility's decent, but the 150% damage on your next attack is not, in my opinion, worth using it for with only 35 power.
I think the only real synergy that I could see with Assassin's Signet on a regular basis is going stealth on steel, and then you can just do a quick backstab.
Agreed. Yeah, do Genup's build. Agreed.
Does that stack with Superior Doom?
Yes.
Sure does.
Which is one of the main issues. There's actually something where you... how does it work? There is a way to get 100% crit chance without getting the Sigil, and then you just go double... not double Doom. You get Doom, and then the offhand you get the power, or what's it called, plus 5% damage. And there's something wrong in the scaling, I think, where it just gets multiplicative. You deal way too much damage. Like, I saw nearly 24k backstabs when I tested it.
Yeah, it was using intelligence and doom sigils. Like the 30% extra damage on
I
your
wasn't
next
using
attack.
intelligence, I was instead using, like, I got 100% crit chance through, like, trades and stats instead.
Okay. Did you use the trait that gave you 50% chance to crit and stealth?
Yes, that one.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, that would be nasty. That'd be an awesome build.
I think they're nerfing the Signet active though, because I remember like reading, hearing the audio file. Like he was, John was like, "Wow, it's that much damage." You know, he said he's going to do something about that. I mean, I don't know if that's not really confirmation, but he was a bit surprised it was still there. You know what I mean?
It's interesting though, since the problem I have with it still is that it's like Quickness. You just use it once every 45 seconds, and then your entire build is down. You know, like it has such a downtime.
Having a build based around one single ability is, I don't think that's okay.
It's also
yeah,
not
but
really
that's essentially a pug build, isn't it? Where you use against pugs, but in a real competitive scene, you're not going to use that. That's
right,
stupid.
yeah, that wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work. Well, it depends. If it still did like 24k damage, I wouldn't use it, since it's pretty much instant. Like, you can take someone out with that immediately.
Just something on the Sigils. They did say that they were going to rebalance them because of one-handed weapons getting much more benefit from using them compared to two-handed weapons, if I remember correctly.
No, it's
one hand, two, what?
Two-handed weapons, you can only use one of them.
Yeah.
Whereas when you get two one-hand weapons, you can use two of them. So they need to rebalance
got a bit confused there. Yeah, the two-handed weapons only get one sigil, don't they? So I think they're just going to add another sigil to that.
Or just make them more powerful.
That's actually an interesting one, since the actual damage of two-handed weapons is not necessarily a lot higher than the one-handed one. Like, it's not like other MMOs where there is a difference because you're wearing, like, you're dual wielding or you're using both your hands. That's so much needed change.
Yeah, I've heard two variations of it. I've heard the one that Shadow just said, and I think it was maybe Harkin that said the other one, that they were either talking about making the individual sigils twice as strong for two-handed weapons, or doubling them up. Like, there was two rumors that I heard. I just didn't know if there was anything official said on either or not.
Well, they're basically doing the same thing, just in a different way.
Right.
I don't think that works. Think about sigils like superior intellect. What? So they're going to increase that by 200% now. So it's going to be 200% crit chance.
No, it's probably only for stats where it's relevant.
Yeah, but I think it's better to add an extra sigil.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
There's no reason not to have that.
Well, yeah, but you could also just equip two sigils of intelligence on your weapons if you're going that route. I mean, you can do it right now, so it's not really... Someone wouldn't do that just because it's possible.
Do they actually stack if you do that?
No. It's crit chance, it's not like you gain crit damage with a crit chance.
Right. But the two 30% damages do stack though, right?
Um,
haven't tested that.
I don't think they do, because you get a buff when you switch your weapons with those on, and I've never seen anyone with 2 stacks of the same buff, like of that buff, the boom buff. I haven't tested it, but I think it doesn't. That's actually interesting. I like this.
Yeah, I was thinking that too.
Okay, so next signet, Infiltrator Signet, which is the Stunbreaker, where you Shadow Step to your target, and the passive is you regenerate 1 extra initiative every 10 seconds.
I think the active is good because it's 30-second cooldown,
I don't like it.
but I don't like the passive at all.
I don't mind the passive, but it's the active that I have a problem with.
Okay.
The problem is you shadow step to your foe. So if you're going to use
Yeah,
Sunbreaker
that's
true.
against a 100 Blades warrior, oh dear, you've shadow stepped to your foe. You're going to get slaughtered.
Now, if you shadow step behind your foe, that would be different.
That would be nice, actually.
I think shadow steps automatically put you behind your foe. If it works the same way that it did in Guild Wars 1.
No,
I don't think it does.
I don't
No,
think
I think
it
it's
is.
the closest route to your opponent's where it's going to leave you.
Pretty much.
Like, it doesn't make sense. It almost contradicts itself, because the way the passive works, you're going to initiate, or whatever, get an initiative every 10 seconds. Well, you're not going to use that as anything but an opener. Like, you're going to shadow step to your foe, because like Dean said, you don't want to jump in front of 100 blades. That's dumb. But once you do shadow step in, you're going to stop the regeneration of your initiative. So why do you want to have it? Like, it's got a 30-second cooldown until it starts regenerating again, right?
Yeah. I just think that 10 seconds is too long for one initiative.
Yeah.
It doesn't really seem that useful in the heat of battle. Like, you'll maybe get 1 or 2
You'll
picks
get
out of like one fight. Yeah, you know. Doesn't really seem that helpful, especially when you have abilities that cost 5 initiative or 6.
Yeah.
I think it's more about, well, here's the way I see Signet, is more in between fights you have the passive, and in the fight you activate it, and by the time the fight ends you have the passive again, so that's...
What will people think of having a trait where you keep a passive after you activate it, like the elementals have?
Yeah, I can see that working.
That could be fun.
I don't see why other professions don't have that, because the Elementals passives are quite crap. Even the actives are like not on par, really. Like the activates for the Signets is a heal, a chill, a immobilize, a burn, and and a blind. That's it. So it's very weak, even though I get this passive. You know what I mean? It's just a bit.
Well, they also have a heal Signet, which is whenever you activate a skill you gain some health. I think that's
That's only very good if you have quite a good healing power. Otherwise it's barely noticeable. Might as well just have Glyph Elemental Power. No, not Power. Harmony. God,
Harmony.
Jesus Christ. So I'm terrible with names when it comes to these things.
Okay, so, well, I think that Infiltrator Signet actually the shortest recharge Stunbreaker in the game.
No.
There's one less than 30.
I think Guardian has a 25-second one, I think.
Really?
You can reduce the
no.
cooldown on it though.
Also, I think Death Shroud is a Stunbreaker, so that's a 10-second cooldown.
Yeah, Necromancers get options Stunbreakers to get Plague Signet, which is currently, I don't know if it's bugged or intended, but when you cast it, it instantly breaks the stun. So if you either dodge or cancel cast, it puts it on a 5-second cooldown, and then you can use it again, so you get the Stunbreaker every 5 seconds.
Really? Bloody hell.
Yeah, there's also the Guardian, when you use Shield of Absorption and you cancel it, you get the same thing.
That's
Bloody hell.
ridiculous. That is so ridiculous.
I'm pretty sure that's not intended, and even if it is, it's overpowered. So
I'm still stuck on what Shadow just said about Necros getting that. Oh my gosh. They're hard enough to kill as it is. They don't need that.
The problem with Plague Signet is that it draws those loads of conditions to you, which is an absolute pain in the ass, and it continually puts you in combat when you're just walking around the map. So you'll be walking around the map and you randomly get crippled and then burn and then bleeding. And it's really annoying.
maybe that's how they nerfed it. Just put a drawback on it. Okay, next signet, you already mentioned it, agility. Passive is you gain precision, which I guess now gives 90 precision, according to...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
that would be essentially a 10 points in critical strikes without the crit damage.
And the active is refills your endurance bar and remove a condition for all nearby allies.
Pretty decent. Like, the active's really good.
Active's really good.
And now that the precision's being buffed, that's going to be one of those toss-ups where you don't know which utility you're going to use, because that's always going to be in the top, because that's really good.
Does it refill to 100%? Like he only
Yes, full.
Yes.
That's brilliant, man.
What I don't know is
for the 15 trait line point where it gives you endurance on dodge.
yeah.
Does that refill the endurance for your nearby allies, or is it just...
Yeah, that's what I just wanted to ask. I'm not sure. I haven't
The
tested
wording
it.
suggests it does because it says refill endurance and remove a condition for all nearby allies.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it means
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's really good.
That's really good.
That's on the face second cooldown. That's fantastic.
I used that one when Leaping Death Blossom was still spammable, pretty much. And I used the... Oh, what were they called? The Runes of the Adventurer? Where whenever you use the heal skill, you regained your endurance meter. And then you
Rune
use
of
the...
Adventure, yeah.
Yeah, and I used the 15-second recharge heal
Oh,
to
that'd be
dodge
fun.
roll. And you just had, like, unlimited dodges and Leaping Death Blossom. So. But I think that's no longer... Well, it's probably still possible, but it's little... Like, you run out of initiative faster now. At least last beta weekend. Okay, so next is the Signet of Shadows, which it grants 10% movement speed, but you said they were changing it to 25?
Yep.
Wow.
Same for every single other one as well.
I don't even know how to explain how good that's going to be if that's true. 25% movement speed thing.
I have a
That's almost
hunch.
swiftness. That's almost permanent swiftness all the time.
Yep. I have a hunch that they're probably just experimenting, and they're probably going to nerf it back down to around 15 to 20.
That would
later
still
on.
be really good, because the
It
10
would
is
be, yeah.
awesome. The 10 is great.
25 is probably too much.
Yeah, I would agree. It'd be way too good. It'd be an irreplaceable utility.
Now the active is blind and immobilized, but that got changed to AoE blind. I'm not
And
sure
they're
I
removing
like
the
that.
they remove the immobilize as well from that.
Yeah, that's what I
Really?
don't like.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like the immobilize a lot. That's a savior a lot of the time, because it's instant.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I run it, because it's an instant, it's like control. Also
Yeah.
blind and immobilized.
That's an interesting change. That'll definitely mix up a few things.
Kind of removes some of the utility of it though, because with the immobilise it means you've got a pretty high counter to melee people, and then with the blind you can actually counter range as well.
Agreed.
Yeah. On the other hand, the passive, it's not really hard to keep up swiftness on a thief with like the dodge trait and on steal buff. So I don't really see a need for the passive necessarily.
Well, they don't stack, do they? So it doesn't.
No. What's the cap?
And plus, when you go into combat, your total speed is reduced by 10%, I think. I'm not 100% sure.
When you unsheath your weapons, that you get reduced speed. I think it is 10%, but I absolutely have absolutely no idea.
Like,
lucky.
Yeah, so essentially, even if it was 25% in combat, it's 15% increase, which isn't. It's okay, but it's not that much. You know what I mean?
Well,
it's nothing compared to 33% increase.
Well, swiftness also, and if you calculate it like that, swiftness would give you 23%.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter how you measure it, I guess.
I read something that engineers and rangers both can go faster than any other profession. Is there any truth to that? Like, I think they go up to 40% as opposed to 33.
You can get more than 33 with rates like
for rooms.
I think there's a hard cap of 40% on how fast you can go with stacking things.
Yeah, there is a cap. I don't know which one.
I read that it was 40, and only 2 professions could actually achieve that, and that was the ranger and engineer.
I'm pretty sure the warrior can get that with the traits. When you use melee weapons, you move faster.
I think the fastest class in general right now is probably the elementalist, actually.
Well, yeah, that's based on abilities, but I'm just
right,
to movement in general.
I see. Okay.
Well, so the passives from the traits can actually do they stack together?
Not sure.
I think
No,
just
so
overall movement speed stacks to a cap. Doesn't matter how you get it.
If that's the case, then the elementalist is on par. Because we've got 20% increase. If we've got daggers, we get a 20% increase in speed. If we go into arcane, yeah, windborne dagger.
When I was playing around with elementalist, I was able to keep swiftness up about 95% of the time, and when it wasn't up, I had Ride the Lightning available.
Yep.
Yeah, that's getting cooldown. So.
I think the most mobile at the moment, everything together, are Ellie and Thief, because you could get Ride the Lightning and Shadow Staff.
Oh, yeah, 35% if you stay in air and then have daggers and then have the signet. That's a bit disappointing, actually. Oh well.
Yeah, it's an interesting change. I'm not sure where to put, like, the Signet of Shadows. Like, I'm not sure where I should put it.
Something I guess we'll just have to test out in the next weekend if the changes are implemented.
Yeah.
If it's just a blind, then, you know...
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you know, it's a utility, you're supposed to use it at some point, and if it doesn't have the immobilise and only has blind, then it's essentially quite worthless, in a way. Even with the increase in speed, movement speed.
Agreed. Yeah, there's no point in, if that's the case, no point in taking that over blinding powder, because blinding powder you can at least stealth yourself and everybody else, and still blind everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think all signets sort of have the issue of either the passive is good or the active, and you're gonna either not use it or use a recharge based on that.
Most signets suck, pretty much, in some shape or form. Only some that are really good. Only some.
Maybe with the trait that keeps the passive on recharge.
You're asking what's the name of it?
No, I'm just saying maybe if every profession has access to such a trait that they would get used more.
Well, it would be a 30-point trait since Elementalist one is called Written in Stone, which is what it does, but it's a 30-point in Earth. So I think it would most likely be at the end of the straight lines, if it was the case.
Wow. That doesn't seem worth it at all.
No.
Yeah, it really doesn't. What were you trying to say, Zill? I see your mic queuing, but you don't talk.
Who, me?
XIL?
No, I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, okay.
He's
wasn't sure.
pressing on purpose, you know. Have some fun.
Okay, so those are actually all the utilities. That took us a while. How about heals? Like, there's 3 heals: Hide in Shadows, Withdraw, and Signet of Malice.
Signet of Malice is shit. I should
Agreed.
say that.
Completely agree.
I'm sorry,
Yes,
but
in
compared to
PvP
Hide in
it's awful.
Shadows...
In PvE it's absolutely amazing with a short bow.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's
No.
another interesting thing. Like, we're looking at it from PvP perspective, but some skills might just be good in PvE, which is fair enough. So,
Well, anything works in PvE. It's just PvP that's like, oh, this might not work, or this might not work. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, the only way the Signet of Malice works in PvP is if you use the ultimate, the spinning blades thing, spinning daggers.
I think that's called Dagger Storm.
yeah.
Yeah, because then you essentially have a full, or you're like a Necromancer. You have to kill me twice before you actually get to kill me.
I hate Dagger Storm.
Yeah.
I really hate it. You know why? Because I can be interrupted.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't grant stability, so you're fucked.
It would be cool if that was, like, you dodge for the full duration, or something like that.
Evade.
I'll keep it as just
that'd be
stability
pretty
for the entire duration. Keep it in line with the other elites,
Yeah,
even if they are the form ones. Because if you go Lich form, you got Plague, you got Tornado, you got any of the Guardian elites, well, the 2, like, Toon ones. They've all got stability on them, and Daggerstone doesn't.
I think Evade would be better, though. That would be much better.
Yeah, but Evade essentially invulnerability, and that's a bit... That's...
Well, how long does it
Yeah.
last now, the animation? Because I've
It
never
lasts
used
5
it.
seconds.
The fact that it blocks projectiles, I mean, I'm okay with it not being evade. I would prefer stability, actually, just for a
Okay,
balance
then it's
feature.
fair enough. Well, then again, like, the thing you want to
It
try
actually reflects
to avoid.
projectiles,
It reflects
so
projectiles.
it sends them back to them if they
Right.
fire stuff at you.
But yeah, that's even better than blocking projectiles. I forgot that it reflected.
So, Signal, Malice, Signal, how about the other 2? Hide in Shadows and Withdraw.
Depends how you want to play. I like them
Yep.
both for different play styles.
Yeah. Withdraw is probably my favourite. It's an evade and removes all the movement impairment effects. And it's a
Not the-
15-second cooldown, so...
Yeah, 15-second cooldown, and not to mention it jumps you like 1,200 feet, it seems. It goes so far
It's a
out of
rocket
combat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
The only
And
issue
hides.
I have with it is that it just, even for its low recharge, it doesn't seem to heal enough, really.
Yeah, I do have to agree on that, actually.
You have to put a few points in Shadow Arts for it to be really useful.
Yeah, agreed.
But can we say the same for Hide and Shadows? I mean...
Well, if you go in Shadow Arts, you're gonna want to be
Yeah,
using
that's-
Hide and Shadows
yeah.
anyway.
I was gonna
so
say
that's a
that anyway.
catch-22.
I actually usually only go 5 points in Shadow Arts all the time. For that, what's it called? When you hit below 25%
Blind-
against stuff.
Blinding power.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Yeah,
is
it's pretty
good.
good.
It's good, but it has its faults too.
Yes, it does. Like interrupting your own heal when you're casting and when you draw below it.
That, and if you have an ability queued up, you can hit stealth and break immediately out of stealth and be revealed. Just because you had an ability queued whenever you hit 25%. Like, that's silly. They need to take that out.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a lifesaver, not like a nail in the coffin.
That is funny, though.
Yeah,
It really is, the irony in that.
I'm usually like so aware that it's going to trigger that I actually tend to wait for it to trigger sometimes.
Nice. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, you have to. Well, there are a lot of those traits that just trigger something on like percentage HP, and I think the only way to really play with them is by accepting that they're going to trigger and letting them do it.
Right. Yeah, because in the end you made the choice to get them, so you have to at least be aware.
Yeah.
The only issue with that is, I mean, because of its current state, it's not like a major trait where you can choose it. It's a minor trait that you have to have. So they have to make it work, otherwise it's essentially a hindrance upon your on your performance.
True. Very true.
The only thing I would like to see is some way to detect that internal cooldown they have. Like, just make them a buff, and when the buff is on you, you know that it can trigger, and when it's not, it can't.
Mm-hmm.
Right, yeah, because it shouldn't be our job to have like a stopwatch as soon as we hit 25% and...
Yeah, exactly.
That would be nice for the other ones that rely on the health percentages as well. Because there's at times where you don't want it to activate because you just got enough skill that can do that job or whatever, or you want to do something else before that activates and it just interrupts you, and it's, you know, history.
What do you guys think of pain response on that topic? Let's see, the one in acrobatics, 10 seconds of regen, removes bleeding, poison, and burning when you hit 75% health.
I was going to ask about that too, because I didn't get a chance to try it, and I wondered how well it worked. I mean, it sounds good, but it has
I
a
didn't
long
try it.
cooldown.
It's 45 seconds, yeah.
And it's at 75% health, you said? I'm sorry,
Yes.
I'm not looking at it right now.
Yes.
Well, it can't activate until 40. It activates until 45 seconds when you hit 75% health. It's still a good cooldown, and it doesn't. I don't think it doesn't interrupt anything, so it's good for what it does.
Sure.
Yeah, you almost get like a free condition removal. So yeah, I mean, it's worth trying. I need to try that one out for sure.
It's nice,
Sounds
but
interesting.
I think it would be really good if you could continue to keep yourself above 75% health, because if you, most of the fights should be between about 30 and about 70% health, and then for most of the fight you're never going to trigger the trait, because it's only going to trigger once when you drop below 75. So you want to heal over 75 to have it triggered multiple times in the fight.
It's
Well,
true.
it's got a
That's
45
true.
second cooldown, so it won't be triggering multiple times in a fight anyway.
True. I'm not so sure if 75% is a number I want for cleaning conditions. Like, I think that's probably too early in the fight.
Yeah, I would almost prefer 50 or 25% for that one.
Yeah.
I think the only reason...
25%.
It's really growing up between, will people throw all their conditions on you at the start of the fight to try and burst you down, or will they be doing it later in the fight? Because it really deals with all the burst conditions.
It's sort of impossible to do. Like, there is nothing that can burst conditions up quite easily. You usually build them up and then maintain.
Yeah, condition builds are a bit of a war of attrition, just wear them down slowly.
I think the only reason they added that in, the remove bleeding, poison, and burning, is because it also gives you regeneration. So obviously if you get regeneration and you have any of those three conditions on you, it's not going to be very helpful. I don't know, that's just a thought.
I think 75% health is a good amount because it's enough health, you know, to get back in the fight, but it doesn't, you know, at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, if it gives you a flat heal or a percentage heal at 25% health, I'd probably take that, but not if it was regen. That just wouldn't be good enough at that low health. It seems more like just a buffer than anything else.
Okay. So, I think, anything else you want to say about heals? That's where we started off.
Still don't like Signal of Malice.
That's the definite. We all
Okay.
definitely can agree on that.
So how about elite skills then? Definite no on Daggerstorm, that's what I heard.
Definite no for me. It's interruptible, you know, it's just a waste of a spot.
I think Thieves Guild has potential, but I think we should be able to do something with them when they're out. Not just, oh, these guys are passive pets we can't control.
I think they should try and put initiators in within the Thieves. Like, they activate certain, like, as soon as they appear, they activate a combo field, like smoke or something. So then you can, you know, do combos of that. I think that would be nice.
Being able to control them by your profession mechanic, like F2 and F3 for one, so you can just choose an ability for each thief when you use it.
I was thinking that, yeah.
Like make one more passive, more offensive, defensive, so on and so forth. Is that what you mean, Shadow?
Yeah, pretty much. So like you'd have the dagger one, then you'd have the pistol one, so you'd be able to do like, you'd be able to choose when to put down the blind for the pistol one, and then you'd be able to choose when it does the scorpion wave for the dagger one, for example.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Sounds interesting, yeah.
It'd be nice too, like whenever you bring them in, I mean, even if they gave you, per each thief, give you a passive, like, boon, that would be kind of cool. Like, boost initiative generation per 10 seconds on one of the guys, or something to that nature. Makes your one attack bleed. Just something that's not overpowered, you know.
Sounds interesting.
What do you think about stealthing you for 2 seconds? As soon as you use it, it stealths you, and then the two things appear, and then it confuses your opponent, and you can just go behind them and just backstab them. I think that'd fit quite well. I think that'd be a bit powerful, but I think I like that.
Well, see, that's actually the only time I've used Thieves Guild is I put down the Shadow Trap, and then I use Thieves Guild as soon as the Shadow Trap is triggered.
Yeah.
Just because that way it doesn't make the one ability seem overpowered. Like, I mean, it has synergy between both of them. Both abilities, the utility and the ultimate.
Yeah.
I actually got an interesting idea. What if Thieves Guilds worked like you temporarily summon thieves instead of you. Like you disappear and those thieves appear and you're basically like off of the field for a while. Like sort of
because it could be...
Go ahead.
I think his mic just died or something.
Yeah.
His internet connection.
Yeah.
I was already checking it was me. So what I was saying, or my idea, was more like just remove yourself from the play for a while and let like call in backup, so you can get away from the fight and let your thieves do the job. But instead, you're actually one of the thief, and you have your like a form skill where your first few elites, your first 5 skills change because you're now in a thief form. Like something similar to that would be interesting for me.
User in your channel timed out.
I think it takes away from the
User
concept of Thieves Guild just a bit too much, but it's kind of a nice idea.
I'm sort of lacking a form spell or elite in Thief, which I think there's room for.
I think really you don't want one as Thief, because I just can't see it working as Thief with having the form ability. With, for example, with Necromancer it makes sense, but not with Thieves.
I'm sorry, I missed that. I DC'd. That you feel like you're missing a form ability?
Yeah, okay. My idea with Thieves Guilds was basically like you become a thief, like you summon in backup, but you're not actually there, you're being one of those thieves. Like your first 5 skills change because you're not playing yourself.
That would be awesome. I mean,
that wouldn't make any sense.
Well, it would.
What, you control his mind during the period or something?
That's or you can... Yeah, the issue I see is I want to keep yourself there and just say you gain stealth, but then you again just have no control over your thieves. So I'm looking for a way to add some control into the elites while being possible. So the only thing I can think of is a form where your first 5 change, so you can basically command your thieves.
The reason I mentioned adding the Thieves Guild as controlling thieves as like a professional mechanic is I was just thinking with the rangers pets, because they have their passive skills that they automatically use, then you have the ability that you can just use, and the active, so just treat them like ranged pets essentially.
That would make sense. If you, I just kind of, this might sound stupid and isn't well thought out because it just came up, but thinking of a form ultimate for a thief, it could almost be like we enter a temporal rift because it's a form of stealth where we move like super fast, all that crap, and our world's like super shadowy, and it only lasts for a really short time because that'd be super overpowered. But it's almost like you can really unload on somebody in that short amount of time, or escape, whatever you want to do. Like that could be a form ultimate for a thief. There were one.
Or maybe something that I said a while back about a steroid for initiative regeneration. Maybe that could be one of our ultimates.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that could be fun.
A steroid?
Yeah, it's, figure of speech. It basically gives us an initiative regeneration buff.
A steroid? My god. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. We haven't, the thieves haven't really got any, like the warriors, for example, have got a signet that will grant like fury, might, swiftness, blah blah blah. So it would be nice for something like that, really, for the elite. Just a nice active.
Yeah, some interesting ideas.
Why is that? I'm curious though, why is initiative regeneration terrible? It's kind of one of our biggest weaknesses, is that our initiative is limiting us.
10 seconds.
Huh?
Most of the initiative regen on like the traits and things like that.
I'm not talking about that.
10 seconds.
I'm talking about a new idea for an elite.
Oh, right.
Like
something better.
Like, it could almost max out your initiative and have your abilities cost nothing for, like, 5 to 8 seconds. Like, it couldn't be anything long, though, because you can unload so many abilities that way.
There's an idea. Your abilities don't cost initiative.
That would be awesome.
That would be cool.
Like, it could be like adrenal or something, because, I mean, thieves are in the alleys, they're probably going to go buy some drugs, get all jacked up on meth, and then come in and kill you. They don't want to remember their morning, they got to assassinate you.
So what you're saying is they're going to literally call it steroid.
There you go, yeah.
Yeah, but then they get addicted to it and they won't choose the other elites. That's good. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then when they grow older, they have small balls. I'm small willy, so it's like, oh dear.
And then it was quiet.
And it was quiet.
That awkward moment when.
To be honest, I would still use Basilisk Venom in my Venom builds.
I use it even outside Venom builds. It's a stun, essentially. So on 45 seconds to cool down, it's a stun. I just use that as an extra utility, really.
If you buff it, it's two stuns every 36 seconds with the right traits.
Yeah. I mean, you stun the opponent twice, so it's nice.
It's very nice. So that was basically all the skills. Did we go through all of them already?
You didn't go through all the weapons if you were.
By the way, does anyone know if you can remove Basilisk Venom with Still Breakers?
No, you
can.
Can't you?
I don't think so. I think that's why it's like an ultimate.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I thought.
It was, it's because it says turn to stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. I mean, I don't know actually, because it's not like Moyo Bird, because Moyo Bird locks you out of your every single skills, while Basilisk. Sorry, I'm very terrible at this. Basilisk Venom doesn't. It just turns you to stone. So I don't see why it wouldn't allow you to break out of it if you have a stun breaker.
Okay, let me put it this way. I haven't seen anyone use a stun breaker to break out of it yet. And
Well, it's a 1 second, and then you apply it twice. So the most likely reason for that is because as soon as they broke out stun, they got stunned again. You know what I mean?
It does say on the wiki, this is currently the only skill accessible to players normally that inflicts gratification. So it might actually be a different effect than a normal stun.
Yeah,
Really?
I think it's been said in interviews and such that Basilisk Venom was not breakable. Like, it's not CC breakable.
Oh really? Oh, that's good then.
Yeah, it's really irreplaceable in comparison to the other Thief ultimates right now.
I mean, it doesn't have a weakness. It's 45 second stun. So, yeah.
yeah.
And it can
Especially
only
from a
get
trait
power
that
traits.
means all your party gets it. That's a bit.
Oh yeah,
That's just a bit strong.
stun lock. I don't think duration stacks though, so you would really need to chain them perfectly
Yeah, get some
if you want to stun.
coordination. Oh man, that would be so fun to just crap on somebody's world like that.
Does it increase? Does it increase duration by the Mesmer runes? Because that's a 33% increase in stuns. So does it get increased, or does it just stay the same because it's not counted as a stun? As
It
I-
stays the same. It's
I
not
think
considered
it's.
stun.
I don't
Right.
think it's.
Well, it's already powerful as it is, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Funny enough, people were complaining about it on the forums and I was like, what are you talking about? It's a 45 second stun, why wouldn't you not want it?
Or we'll complain about anything on forums.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's why I'm happy to have this like little theory-crafting night, because I'm so tired of reading a bunch of whiners on those things.
Just don't go to Guilds to Guru. Just
That's
don't.
yeah, those are the forums that I read.
It's truly awful.
It really is brutal.
They were talking about this topic about removing bleeding stacks. You know, remove the cap on that. That would be so powerful. There'll just be necromancers everywhere, casting epidemic, all that crap.
Oh god, it will be rangers.
Yeah,
Axe rangers.
axe rangers,
So
everything.
back to bleed.
Dear God. So I mean, they tried to compare it to direct damage and things like that. I was just like, oh, you fucking dipshits.
I actually think condition damage is stronger than direct damage.
It is very strong. As soon as you apply it, that's it. They can't dodge out of it. They can't, you know, they have to remove it. That's the biggest, you know, strength of it. You know, unless you remove it, it stays with you.
Also, toughness doesn't affect it, so if you've got them really tanky guardians that are just stacking toughness, then it just rips through them completely.
Exactly. Well, toughness at the moment is a bit meh. You might as well just have an increase of vitality.
Oh,
Covers
I'm
all
not going to get
areas.
into this argument. I've made a post on the forum, I'm not going to get into this argument.
Alright, big guy, alright.
I know that's a really touchy subject with everybody in general, really, because I mean that's a topic on every forum I've ever seen in the past month.
True.
I don't know whether I should start an argument now.
Hey, Theorycrafting night.
Alright.
Well, what time is it actually? How long have we been doing this?
It is
We've been
9:30
doing
EST.
it for an
It's half 2 in
hour
the
and
morning
10 minutes,
here.
I think.
A little over 2 hours.
2 hours. Since you started, anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay, there was actually another subject that I really wanted to discuss, and that is the reveal mechanic. What do you think?
I like it.
I like it.
Agreed. It makes sense.
You've been revealed. you know, you're fucked now.
Is it kind of buggy right now, though?
It is. It's very buggy, especially with Hidden Thief. Like, Hidden Thief is awful with that debuff.
It's kind of
what can you fix it with? Like, I mean, you can't really lessen the duration of it.
Oh, it's a matter of like whenever I say
3
it's buggy,
seconds. Always.
Yeah.
I mean, 3 seconds is a good amount for what it does.
Exactly. Yeah, because most of the stealth abilities give you 3 seconds in stealth. It only makes sense to give you out of it, 3 definite out of it.
Yeah, exactly. I really like what they've done with stealth for this game. It's brilliant. But I've never played a huge, stealth-based Thief, so I've never really encountered that kind of issue with it. I'm not really sure about this bug you're talking about when it comes to the Thief.
Well, it's with the Hidden Thief trait in general. I mean, it's buggy by itself, but whenever you incorporate the revealed mechanic, it's miserable, because a lot of the time, even without the revealed mechanic, whenever you go and you use your steal to go stealth for 2 seconds, which I think goes to 3 after that minor trait in the master tree, you get the revealed debuff, but your character doesn't actually go invisible, even if you don't have the revealed buff whenever you steal. So, like, it still gives you revealed without giving you the stealth to get away.
Right, I see.
Oh, sounds horrible.
That's terrible.
Yeah,
I feel so sorry for you.
well, whenever it works, it's great. Like, whenever it actually functions properly, it's an amazing trait to go for, but it doesn't always work.
No, they'll fix that by week and 3, if not launch. I don't think it's something to worry about.
Oh yeah, I'm not stressed about it. ArenaNet's pretty on the ball with that type of stuff.
That they are.
I tell you, the weirdest thing, like, the audio that on Reddit, like I said like a couple of hours ago, like, it's so weird how they do when they deal with these certain skills that are overpowered and things like that. They just go, okay, we'll just reduce it and then just test it out. There you go. I was expecting like a mathematician or something like that. You know what I mean? You expect it to be so simple.
Yeah, they
no
got a caveman on it.
You, sir, are not a game designer, are you?
I think they can get away with that because they have tools which mean that they can change your build within a minute or so. So in an hour they'll go through about 20 different builds for the game, and they can just test them.
I know what you mean, but it's just so casual. It was just like what we're talking about. They were talking like how we were talking. It wasn't like, we can't do that because of blah 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 or blah blah blah. It's literally like, oh, let's give it a try, yeah. Things like that. I was just like, what? Bloody hell. It was supposed to be the company. Oh. It was just weird for me. And John Peters was very loud.
Maybe that's just how John Peters is. I met him at last year's Gamescom, and he's kind of a very open guy.
Very open, and he'll overtalk you.
Yeah, but maybe that's just his style, and that's probably not how Isaiah Cartwright does things. So,
well, what did you think of it, Tempest? What do you think of the revealed?
It's quite interesting that you all say that you like it, because I actually don't. And that is because, okay, going back to other MMOs, the one mechanic that I hate the most is diminishing returns. And what I saw in GW2 was there is no diminishing returns. Like, everything happens normally, intuitive, naturally. Like, there's no... You have CC and you have stun breakers. Makes sense. There's nothing mechanical behind them that suddenly says it's impossible. And then you go to the reveal mechanic and you're suddenly like, I get a debuff whenever I de-stealth, and I have to keep watching my UI to see when it wears off. Like, it just feels so forced. Like, it wasn't balanced reveal mechanic.
The problem was that it was set. I think it was mainly set to deal with the permanent stealth mechanic, that where people just continue running around and be cloak and dagger, hitting people from behind. So as soon as you hit them, you stealth again. So you just continue running around, stealth, and nobody can touch you. And the reveal mechanic means that one's cut out to quite a degree, and also you get things like with Shadow Refuge, when you're going in, because you get the revealed debuff while you're in the stealth as well. So it'll just put you with the 4-second stealth and it won't be able to reapply it while you're standing in the Shadow Refuge. So it's actually a pretty elegant solution to the whole stealth problem of just continually stacking up stealth.
How do you feel, like, meld with shadows, it's a 15-point trait in Shadow Arts. How do you feel that grants stealth skills to last 1 second longer, and it will reduce the reveal mechanic by 1 second? So it goes down to 2 seconds.
That one, instead of increasing the duration of stealth, I think it should just reduce the duration of reveal, because if I remember correctly, and I could be completely wrong on this, but that trait also increases the duration of stealth of your down mechanic, which is why it's a pain in the ass.
It definitely does.
And also if you...
Pain in the ass to stomp a thief, because by the time they reappear, it takes them 3 seconds to get it off, and it takes you 4 seconds to stomp them. So you can never stomp them. It just gets really, really annoying. So
they're fixing
it helps sort that out.
Yeah, that's something that they definitely needed to fix. I mean, personally, I know it has to be annoying to people trying to stomp, but it's just as annoying for a thief trying to get up, because I hate being in the down state. I wish they just had something where I could slit my throat and go back to play.
I actually let myself die instead of trying to, if there's nobody near me to res me up, I just let myself time out.
Yeah, I don't blame you. It's so frustrating being in that down state and almost getting to the maxed out point and then have somebody tag you and you're like, oh god, I gotta go through this rotation again.
You should have the 5th skill called suicide.
I agree. I think everybody should really be offered that ability, every single profession. Because I don't think it's after watching Teldo's video, where he just kept that elementalist in the down state the whole time. I mean, that's ingenious, but that is so infuriating to me.
Well, how did he do that? I mean, for him to keep it like that, the elementals actually had to try to survive.
Right.
Basically, all he did was he just kept hitting him once whenever he popped heal. No, not healing. Help me.
The number 4.
The number 4.
Bandage. Help, something like
that. You just interrupted that, and for the rest, he just left him there. If he didn't try, he would take out slowly, but...
Yeah. I mean, that was a great strategy on his part to take over, or take advantage of that guy's stupidity.
Well, that's... You always need to have some kind of downtime, if you get what I mean. If you put the suicide button there, it's either there's allies nearby and I don't hit it, or there's no allies nearby, I hit it immediately. And
I would say put it on a 30-second cooldown. You don't unlock it until 30 seconds.
More like a 15 to 20 second cooldown, so... Because 30 seconds seems a bit long for me, because keeping someone out of fight for 30 seconds is quite a while.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Another, just a random idea I just thought of is, in Guild Wars 1 you had death penalty. What if you made suicide possible anytime, but if you choose to do it, you get that death penalty?
Now you've got to decide what the death penalty is going to be, and how are you going to reduce it in such a pain.
Just minus stats. I think that's the best way to do it. You have the buff from the NPCs in Forest, just when you have death penalty, you have a minus instead of a plus.
Yeah, but then no one would ever use it.
Yeah,
you would stats, do you?
But you might want to do it if you can res 10 seconds faster.
Exactly, because that could be your team needs a node neutralized and to win the game, and you have that option. It's well, yeah, if I can get to the node and neutralize it real quick, then this is totally worth the reduction in stats.
Yeah,
depends,
the problem is you've got to time it really well because the respawn time is, I think it's on a 30-second cycle.
Yeah,
so you can get stuck out for a long time, or you get stuck out for no time whatsoever. So, and it's not going to be as important as it was in Guild Wars 1, where in Guild vs Guild you had 2 secondary times back, two minutes respawn timer. So literally they would wait until it was just over 2 minutes back, and then they would kill someone, and then they were out of the match for 2 minutes. So you could keep someone out of the match for 30 seconds. So it's not as bad as it used to be, but it's still, if you're sniping people at the right times, then you can really keep people out for quite a while.
Yeah, I normally try and survive just long enough so I'm near on the 30-second marker, then I just, res instantly.
No. Well, that's just, doesn't really have to be on a suicide mechanic, but I would like to have something, like, there's currently no real penalty in dying. Like, you give a few points to the enemy team, but that's basically it. Like, the respawn timers aren't really long enough to really matter.
Well, I just feel you shouldn't get punished that much for, just dying. I mean, if you die enough times, I think you do get a debuff. I think you do get a death penalty if you die too much too often.
Do you?
Yeah, I
only in
think so.
PvE, right?
In PvE,
it's getting downed too often. Because if you get every time you get downed, you get less health next time you get downed, until you'll instantly get defeated at a certain point. So you can't continually just keep on resing someone. How many times it takes is about, might be 3 or so. No, about probably close to 5 times you got down, and then they just instantly die.
No. Okay, so that was quite a bit. I think we covered almost everything. Not every weapon specifically. Maybe. Did you guys have any specific questions? Like,
what weapon sets do you use personally?
My favorite weapon set was Pistol Dagger, which is basically the condition build that I posted up last. And the second set is Short Bow.
Short Bow?
Yes. I can't imagine ever running my Thief without a Short Bow.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
I'm right with you. There is no build that I don't have a short bow with, because that is my... I'm gonna get out of here without you guys touching me and infuriate you. Like that. That's what the weapon is for.
And not even that. You can actually pack quite a bunch with cluster bombs.
Oh, cluster bomb, yeah, shotgun.
Yeah, they've reduced the damage on that now, according to the audio file.
Man,
worse. Afraid it's worse than that. They also reduced the travel time of it too.
Have they?
Yep.
Well, there goes the fun.
I mean, you can still... The way that I see that is it allows me to use more skills in between. Like, I'll shoot it off, and then I'll shoot a couple auto attacks, and then I'll blow it up. But, I don't know. It means you have to kind of be a little bit more careful with where you aim it, I guess.
Yeah, it did move really slow, though, so I'm okay with that change.
I usually use it at melee range. Like, just put up Devour Venom, hit once, and then just stand right next to them and target the area right behind them, and then just detonate it right on top of their head.
Shotgun it, yeah, that's fun.
And deals so much damage. And bleeds as well.
Yeah, the short bow is good, no doubt. It's just not the hardest hitting weapon we have, but it's really good all around. I just couldn't play without it.
Yeah, it's like
question.
Go ahead.
I got a question about that. If you the bleed application on cluster bomb, does it apply 1 bleed per explosion?
I believe so.
I believe it applies 4 bleeds.
If you hit with all 4 explosions.
If you hit, which is basically if you use it on melee range, you hit 4 times.
Okay.
No, you hit 5 sometimes because your main explosion also hit, like the detonate explosion also hits, but you hit 4 shrapnel. Any more questions you had?
Not really.
Nope.
No, we covered quite a bit.
Yeah. I was planning on just throwing in some general questions at first, and then leave all the questions up to you guys where we just get them going anyway, so... Any subjects then you think we didn't cover?
I mean, like, we could always go in depth on each weapon set, but I mean, that's not necessary if we don't need to, like, if we don't want to. But that's something we could always talk about.
Well, we could always talk about what would be the most likely weapon set for competition. Like,
Yeah,
what would be...
You mean besides short?
Besides shortbow, yeah. Like, what would be the ideal, like, weapon setup, do you think?
I think it depends on the map.
I personally prefer sword and pistol, just because of the extra days, stun, you know, and a shadow return which breaks stun and removes a condition. It's got a lot of utility within it.
Yeah, I can somewhat agree. It sort of depends, like, for direct damage and, well, crit builds, I always use pistol whip. And for condition builds, I always use pistol dagger with sneak attack.
Have you tried to make, you know, a mix of both? Both bit of condition damage and bit of...
Well, my current build had 1800 power. Try to remember. About 1k, little over 1k condition damage, which is enough to make bleed stick for like almost 100, which is more than enough. And about 25% crit chance, I believe, but no crit damage. But the crit chance is basically just to trigger a Sigil of Earth.
Can't really go a good balance with it, really, can you?
Not all three. You can usually combine like power and condition damage or power and crit damage. Like, but you can't really get crit damage, crit chance, power, and then conditions.
I do like the dagger pistol. Like, that combo can be really useful. I know that, like, last beta weekend, a lot of people made videos that they didn't in the first beta weekend because everybody was doing pistol, pistol, dagger, dagger. But, like, just think about it. You can use the combo. It's a really, like, synergized weapon set, I think, because the number 5, you got the smoke field that you can drop down, and you can Heartseeker into that and go stealth and get right behind the person, backstab, and repeat. And then you have that daze to interrupt the heal that they're getting ready to pull off anyway, and you just can repeat that rotation almost. Like, it's nasty if it's played well. It's just something that you have to time.
Yeah. That set definitely has one of the most control you can get on a thief. But after playing like a ranged thief main, like, well, pistol main hands, I have troubles getting back to melee unless it's pistol whip where you just teleport in anyway. Like, ranged is has such a huge advantage over melee. Like, too much, to be honest.
It
That's
depends.
Most MMOs too.
It depends, though, because if you're ranged and then the melee actually get to close the gap, and ranged normally do actually panic because they're in your reach and they will do a ton of damage if you're not careful. I think that melee is all about pressure, and range is, not so much as about pressure.
Agreed, and that's something that is so good about the dagger pistol too. I know you said you like the flip-flop of the pistol dagger, but the combo, the dual skill that you get with dagger pistol is a shadow step to the person that blinds them. So, if you're having a problem getting in range, you have an ability that immediately brings you there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny part is, when you flip it around, you have a combo when you attack a target, you shadow step straight away from them.
Exactly. So, like, I think both of those weapon sets were made really well. I just don't think people, like, value them as highly because they're not as instant gratification. Like, you don't see huge numbers all the time, but they're very, very good if they're played well.
Oh yeah, definitely. And well, the funny thing is, if in melee, like I did not die once to a melee in the entire beta weekend.
Nice.
And that is just simply because, like, remember when I talked about caltrops? When I said you basically create a field where not a single melee can can catch up to you. That's basically all I did. Like, and if they do actually manage to get to me, I still have my utility Shadow Step to break off and teleport. Like, once they reach me again, I just hit it again, Shadow Return. Or I just use my combo attack, which just teleports me straight away anyway. So, honestly, with that set, it's impossible to lose against the melee.
I had difficulty with Mesmers.
As a thief, I have a problem with Mesmers if they're using the pistol, just because that stupid unload.
Illusionary Duelist.
Horrible.
Yeah, it was broken.
That wasn't. Yeah, that's not how it's supposed to work.
When they were using Star for that, I was fine with them. But it was just that pistol, was just like, fuck off.
As well as
smoke screen. Jeez.
How many stuns do they have?
A lot of stuns.
I think like
dazes even more.
Yeah, stuns and dazes. I mean, like.
Well, and they have a trait that whenever you daze, it has a 50% chance to stun. So I mean,
ouch.
It's a nasty, nasty profession. They have so much control.
And they've got quickness.
Yeah.
Oh boy, illusionary duelist with quickness.
Morrowbird, oh my god. If you're fucked if you're Morrowbird. I don't care who you are, you're Morrowbird, you're gone.
You just spam dodge and then run away.
Funny enough, I don't know why you can dodge in Morrowbird, it's a bit weird.
Oh, why not? You're a living creature.
You're a bird. You shouldn't be able to dodge.
How many ostriches have you seen doing a dodge roll before?
Yeah, no doubt.
Same idea.
It's a super derpy looking bird too, so I couldn't even imagine it dodging.
Yeah, exactly. You can't imagine it doing a barrel roll everywhere, can you?
So we all agree buff Mesmers even more.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hate them, they're evil.
Yeah, I think Mesmers are one of the strongest 1v1s, and like it's kind of funny. Like with a thief, I usually find myself not wanting to get in 1v1 situations so much. I would rather jump on a target that's distracted by allies. While I know that Mesmers want the exact opposite. In big team fights, their illusions die too quickly, but once, like, in a 1v1 situation, they are so good.
So good. Yeah, it's incredible. Like, if they use their phantasms well, it's over.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unless you have AoE, then, they're fucked, but...
Well, that's why I said phantasms, because those are the ones that have a lot of health.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's not necessarily, like, AoE, you still have to land it, because you get stunned by the pistol offhand thing, and then the Signet of Domination, and then all the dazes.
Yeah. Yeah, like, honestly, whenever I go against a Mesmer, I know I said it's not the strongest weapon we have, but short bow is the best thing I have used against them, just because of trick shot. Drop a choking gas and trick shot, and you'll just hit all of the phantasms and illusions and hopefully kill them.
I usually jump on the Mesmer with steel, immobilize them, and then cluster bomb spam them before they pop illusions. And then the stupid Mesmers pop their illusions when you're spamming them, and they die instantly. The good ones just wait until their immobilize wears off, dodge out, and then
Yeah, then it's all over.
Yeah, well, it depends. Either they took too much damage and they can't fight anymore, so it basically becomes a chase, or they leave you and you get a capture point, or like they come back, and usually when they come back, you're without initiative, and then yeah.
Yeah. Something I didn't bring up since we're talking about weapons, kind of still. The delay due to animation. What do you think of that? Because I know that's a huge problem that they actually made worse in Beta Weekend 2.
What do I think of that? I honestly don't really mind. Like, I got used to it, but I can see why people dislike it.
Well, one of my favorite ability as a thief is flanking strike with the sword dagger, our dual ability, and the hard hitter is the second ability. It's not the first one as soon as you get to the back, but that delay is huge now. Like, I mean, it feels like a half second before this. Oh, it's massive. It feels like a half second in between the first and second hit.
Yeah, well, that specific skill, I feel like there's not, like, it doesn't track well at all. Like, it doesn't even track movements of your target. So
I like it so much, though. I think I like it too much because I just want it to work because I love the concept.
Well, the concept is great, but I agree, that skill needs to be, well, reliable.
Yeah, definitely.
I did think they said they were going to add an evade to flanking strike as well, so that when you do it, you actually evade things.
Oh.
It already has an evade.
Yeah, it has one.
Was that in? Because if I remember correctly, it wasn't actually in. But that would be Beta Weekend 1.
Oh, not in 1, but in 2 it was. You still evaded.
Alright, nice.
It's just, if they didn't have such a long delay between the first and second attack, like, I would actually like it. Because I tracked pretty well. It just depended on the
User joined your channel.
where you were at on the ground. Like, if you were on a hill, it would not track well. But if you were on flat ground, like on the keep, it tracked really well.
Yeah.
Like, I would go right behind the guy. And you could see who was, like, a bad player or not, too, because they would keyboard turn and it would make me laugh.
Has anyone here removed the S as a walking back button? I've replaced it with a turn back, so as soon as you press it, you instantly turn 180 degrees. Does anyone understand that?
Well, I don't use the back button, but I do have that one. I do use that one.
Yes.
Yeah, same.
Replaced with the S because it was just essentially useless. Like walking back, you're even slower walking back. So it's just like, well, fuck this, I'll just might as well make it so it turns round. Much better.
Definitely.
I catch thieves off guard often because of that. They're like trying to backstab me, I go, whoosh! Fuck you.
No backstab for you.
Yeah. Brilliant.
The other way I use that button is when I have a skill like roll for initiative. Just turn, like hit the button, roll for initiative, hit the button, and it just pushes me forward.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I use too.
I've seen people do that with that heal too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
15-second cooldown, it doesn't really matter, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and coupled with that vigor on heal, it's
Exactly. I mean, you have so many dodges as well. If you use the Runes of Adventure, I don't even think that's balanced. Like, they can't be balanced. You dodge like every 2 seconds even. You can keep that
Yeah,
up.
you're dodging a lot, but you're not going to do damage while dodging, are you?
Yeah,
So-
true, but just saying, you always have a dodge ready if you would need it.
Yeah, but that's a thief for you. That's what he's supposed to be able to do, really. You should be able to dodge often. He's not supposed to take damage, he's supposed to mitigate the damage.
like
Yeah, sure.
even a parry would be acceptable.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Where
Well, I
are
mean,
the parries?
Yeah, I mean Mesmers get 2 parries.
Okay, I know why. Put it on initiative. What happens?
Say that again, I'm sorry?
You put it on the weapon skills with initiative cost. What happens when you can parry like X times in a row?
Well, then you just become a warrior. They only need one ability to be invulnerable for 3 seconds.
Yeah, maybe.
No, I agree. That would become very imbalanced, especially if they like boosted initiative return a little more.
Depends on what kind of effect you get when it does get triggered.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It'd be kind of cool. This could possibly make it balance if you did have an ability that allowed you to parry or block or whatever. It would like as soon as you parried, it hit you into stealth. So then you wouldn't want to use it again until your revealed wore off. So then that would prevent you from having to do it. And it would make sense as far as a thief play would go.
That is very interesting.
Well done. Very interesting.
That would be really fun.
I wish Mr. John Peters was here, and so he could just like put it in and we'll test it, or we'll play around with it.
Yeah, no doubt. We've had some pretty good ideas tonight.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not the testers.
Just shoot off an email with all that information anyway.
Yeah.
By the way,
just spam everything, like Facebook and whatever.
Like here, we have a 3-hour theory crafting session that we would like you to listen to. Thanks.
Right. Send it by mail, like private.
Yeah.